What is up, everyone? What is up? Happy Monday. What's everyone up to? I got some new equipment coming in. I'm getting the house set up for more of a over-the-air TV, and then I'm also getting a new hackery type device, the uConsole. What's up, thing? How's it going, bud? What's up, Ray Ray? Alex? How's it going? What did the UK do with age verification? I haven't kept up on it. I've been futzing with antennas too much. It's not even a joke. Oh, the cloud fable model isn't working because the United States declared it a national security issue to allow anyone who isn't a U.S. citizen to use it. Since they can't verify anyone, whether they are or are not a U.S. citizen, they just closed all the access to it. That's not even hyperbole or joke. I'm doing alright. Nostalgia. Had to think about that for a second with my brain. If you hear me sniffling, my allergies are getting to me. I'm waiting for an allergy pill to kick in. What's up, Parrot? How's it going, bud? So, yeah, I have new hackery gear coming in. That'll be the uConsole with some antenna stuff. I still need to get a better vector network analyzer and some there's a couple other tools I had written down I need to grab. I might be doing more talks on radio and stuff. Going on to some of the things that are going on at some of these conferences. Sorry. Where else are you going to be words? What are some good websites to study for the technician license? Technician is really easy. So there is so for a paid resource, and I did use them and I do recommend them. There's Ham Radio Prep, which is definitely one. I'm gonna give you a few. Some are free, some are paid for. Okay, I'm not affiliated. Okay, you know. They have a pack sometimes. They may still have it where you can get all 3 levels for a really inexpensive price, which is what I did, and it lasts forever. There's no continual fee. It's just a one time. And then they also have like a POTA course, a satellite and space operation, emergency comms. You can buy separate. So that's one great one that is oh wow, we're in a new course of questions now, aren't we? 2026 to 2030. Okay. So yeah, you're going to need to, if you don't get it by July 1st, you're going to have a new bank of questions that you're going to have to go through. Just keep that in mind. It's a good thing to know. But let's see, what's the sale they're offering? Are they offering a sale? I don't know. Well, sometimes there they go. So yeah, that's the bundle I got. $79. You can get all 3 levels, and I guess they get a free ham radio basics course. So that's one option that you can use. The other one is Ham Study, I think it is. Hamstudy.org. This is really great. I used it for running through the tests, so you can actually, I'll just you know, you can go through the questions, so like you can read it, you can have a practice mode test. Here, we can continue as guest here. Well, you get the idea. So this is free over here, but this will just go over the questions for the most part. So it's like, what part of a packet radio frame contains the routing and handling information? So that'd be the header, okay? So then you could go through that, and it could help you figure out where your aptitude is. So that'll be one way, and the questions that it's using are the same ones that'll be on the test. So that's one thing that is free. You can go to Amazon. There are the ARRL official study guides. Those have been alright. They're a mix of different things, but the ham study I definitely recommend for testing your knowledge, just to make sure you are ready to pass. Because I did this for when I did my general and technician before I went in, and now I'm going to have to study for my amateur extra. Oh, it probably helps if I show you. So, this is Ham Study. This is free. Okay, so you can basically go through the questions, and then what you can also do is you can get some more information over there, and then it'll point you to a Wikipedia article for it. So it's not the best for, like, as a study material. It's great for if you are practice testing. That's Ham Study. Ham Radio Prep is what I definitely used and recommended. $79 for all 3 levels. One-time fee. And then they have additional courses here for different pricing. Some are free, some are not. And yeah, this is all for ham radio. You're too old. We're talking ham radio. If you're old, you should definitely get that. How was your CISSP exam? Yeah, CISSP was a pain in the ass. It was a psychologically FU exam. What I mean by that is, so I was convinced all the way through taking the test. So, like, I went in first, like, all right, I think I'm all right, okay, confident. I think I'm going to do all right. And halfway through the exam, mind you, I think, what is it, like, you get 3 hours or something like that. If I remember, I was in there for like 2, I think, 2-ish or so. And yeah, so anyway, yeah, I was so convinced that I was going to fail. I didn't know that I passed my CISSP until I went up to them printing out the paper to say that you passed or failed, because what had happened was my machine had crashed right after I submitted it. So I never got the pass-fail window. So I had to go over. And I'm like thinking in my head while this is coming out, like, man, I'm gonna have to reschedule for this exam. That's another $750 for this that I'm gonna be out of pocket for, because work only reimburses if you actually pass it. And yeah. So it was a pain in the ass. Now, after passing the CISSP, the Security Plus was a frickin' breeze. I say that as someone who took the Security Plus after the CISSP. I know, weird path. WGU, despite, like, knowing I have a CISSP, is like, yeah, you're still gonna have to, like, pass a bunch of these courses, including, like, Security Plus and everything. And I'm like, you gave me credit for the CISSP, but you're still making me go and take classes to get the Security Plus. Whatever. It's such a dry course, it seems. Yeah, CISSP is more of a confusing language test. Had a major heart attack. I had to relearn a lot. Jeez. Starting software development course in like 3 months. What should I learn over the course of summer for it? Software dev? I mean, learn about CI/CD, DevSecOps, and DevOps. Just learn how to automate your things into different workflows that just, you know, you don't want to repeat the same monotonous, mundane crap day in and day out. Like, you don't need to, it's nice to learn manually how to create, like, a, Docker, but ideally what you want to do is, like, for my GitHub, when I push the code out, it then creates the Docker container for me, so then at that point, all I have to do is install it from the GitHub container repository. And it's a one-liner command, more or less, to bring that in and then launch that. Worried about the IDF spying? I mean, look, if you're ever worried about government spying on you, number one, you're not that important. Number two, if you want a real OPSEC tip, get off the internet. Like, if that's really what you're trying to go at, the reality is the majority of you, you're not important enough for government to actually spy on you. It's not worth the resources. One-liner, apparently know her. God damn it, you and your buns. Nat Plus and Sec Plus certified, working as 11 support. Level 1 support for a month. What do you suggest move on cyber roll? Well, you're gonna have to get a little bit more experience under your belt before you can actually do that, but then you can pivot into, like, security operations. So, pardon that. Couldn't think, my throat is just a little itchy from these allergies. But then also there is, you know, GRC roles, which are a little less technical quite often, but that is changing according to some of my GRC friends, now that, you know, there's AI tools abound. Take that with what you will with it. But yeah. Stuck in the knock infrastructure ops. Any advice? I mean, it depends on where you're trying to go. Bro, should I take the problem is with a lot of people that are coming into the chat right now that are like, hey, I've got these certs, should I take this cert or that cert? The question I have to ask you is what experience do you have? That's going to matter more, because I'm going to tell you what's also going to be a bigger red flag. Too many certs, not enough experience. If you don't have enough experience to line up with the certs that are there, that's going to be a bigger red flag to a lot of hiring managers. I'm just saying, you don't need to get certs just to get certs. Look, there's tons of people out there that have alphabet soup, okay? If you have a purpose to go get a cert, okay, that's fine. Primarily, your purpose should be work is paying for it, but be that as it may. And take this from advice from somebody that just 3 months ago got into a senior cybersecurity engineer role without a bachelor's, and I only got my CISSP 2 years ago. And that was my first cert that I ever got. I got my Sec Plus, Net Plus, A Plus, ITIL V4, the LPI Linux Essentials, all after that as part of the WGU thing. So, I mean, and I became a cybersecurity engineer before I even had a bachelor's and a CISSP. So I got my CISSP at my last job. I was there for 3 years. Thank you for the follow. So, instead of, you know, hey, do I have this cert or that cert or this cert or that cert? Because here's the reality. I want you to put yourself in the perspective of a hiring manager here for a second. You have a pile of resumes. You know F all about anybody in these resumes except what's on paper. They don't see your face most of the time. They don't know much about you. All right? Sometimes some businesses even strip out personal data so there is no bias. Some companies actually do that. So, like, if your name's foreign or that, you just show up as, like, number candidate X532, whatever, you know? So, be mindful of that. And where I'm going with this is the point is, how are you going to stand out with AI right now and a lot of people using application tracking systems from all of those? Because even if all of those things, let's say you do get past the AI filters, whatever that, okay, great. The hiring manager still has to make the final call. So, think about that for a second. Certifications and degrees are great checkboxes, but they aren't a thing that you should just go strive just to say you did it. Like, if you see that there is a benefit for your career or there is a particular job that you're trying to go at and you're seeing a common pattern where it's like they're looking for this, then go after that cert. But don't go around asking people what's the next cert to go around. If you don't know what the next cert that you should go get is, then that means probably shouldn't focus on the cert, should focus on the experience. Okay? There are certain certs that will get the job. No, certs don't get you the job. Certs get you the interview to the job. What gets you the job is when you're in front of the hiring manager and they actually give you an offer letter. That's what gets you the job. Certs don't do that. They are just check boxes for an HR system at best most of the time. They aren't really a make or break in most situations. In fact, you want that as a evidence? I've beaten people that have had the alphabet soup in their job applications, and I've never been told I was the top applicant by any boss that's hired me. They said, once I met you, then you became the top applicant. How do you impress hiring managers? Well, with me, it's just I have a home lab I tinker with, and I push myself to be at least educated. In the worst case scenario, at least at the conceptual level of the things that they're looking for. And ideally, I have experience in the things, or at least the concepts that they are looking for. Like, when I started my last job, which was the first time I had exposure to CrowdStrike, they were just looking for EDR experience before, and when they saw that I could demonstrate the Bitdefender Gravity Zone EDR, Sophos EDR, and ESET, I think it was, and, you know, how those things operate, and you can do that, then they're like, okay, yeah, you can probably figure out CrowdStrike, and that's pretty much what happened. You want to have adaptability. That's a big thing, at least for the jobs that I'm doing, because a lot of the jobs that I'm doing are primarily in engineering-type roles. So we're trying to figure out how to build different solutions, whether it be through network engineering or you have what's called endpoint engineering. There's a various call for different things. Experience and project beats certs and degrees, but not useless. Yeah. Best certs and degrees. Yeah. I think I know what you meant. You had a typo in there. I have no certs. They hired me based on experience. My degree isn't finished yet. Yep. most of the people that I actually know that are like extremely knowledgeable and doing very well in their fields don't have fancy degrees and all of that stuff. There's a dude that I know in a group that I hang out with all the time. He just got hired by Google. And not like as in Google, like, oh, I'm just working like down here, Google. Like, no, apparently he's a principal engineer. I want to say of the operating system kernel. I think that's what he said he's doing, or he said that's one of the roles that they were looking at giving him. I don't know. I'd have to ask him the specifics. But the point being, most of the people that I know that are extremely great in this field didn't really go get fancy degrees. Because here's the thing. There's nothing that a degree will give you that you won't be able to learn in the field, and you'll always be able to learn more in the field than you will in academia. Because how do you think they get all those ideas from what goes on in the field? By the time it's in a textbook, it's often 3 to 5 years old. And we often tell people, like, there are really rarely books for cybersecurity for a lot of the new things that come out, because it happens to change so fast and so rapidly that you can't print books fast enough, so you just have to pull together a bunch of different projects, research papers, and figure out, you know, all of that stuff. That's what it means to be on the frontier. Think these cybersec salaries are going away soon? I don't think so. I think what's going to be happening, though, is there's going to be a requirement of more skills in cybersecurity than we had before. What I mean by that is, no longer are you going to really be comfortable with being completely non-technical in cybersecurity. You're gonna be you have to be technical at some level, to the point that you may have the expectation now, where it wasn't so common, to know some kind of coding and programming. Where I think it's dangerous is there's a lot of people that don't learn the concepts of good programming, and they vibe code bullshit. And I think that's a problem. I've seen it get really out of hand in some cases. But yeah. How did the guy you mentioned get that good? Tinkering. Building their own labs, blowing their own shit up, pulling all the bunch of the research from online, what the frontier, is out there with new tools, new tactics, techniques, and all of that, from different papers, news sources, things like that, as things come out, playing with different things. Yeah, that's kind of, it's a similar way that I worked with it. Except I had to do a lot more heavy equipment because I was doing networking labs, but you can totally lab just in virtual machines on a desktop if you have a reasonable amount of memory. I think cell phone repair is a help desk role. I think cell phone repair is a cell phone repair. It's an IT job, but it's not... It's customer support, but not help desk per se. Like, there's a lot of overlap, but... It's a technicality, I guess. Chose the data center tech, then got an SA, got my IS degree while in SA, and got an architect role. Nice. Most of the cybersec people I know just run a detection tool. They just produce reports. Yep. That is the case. Very few of us like to build shit. At least out of the majority of them. Like, oh my god, I went to ISSA. The conference recently where I did the talk. Bro. What a management circle jerk fest there. Like, yeah, that is a conference I can't really recommend people to go to. Whereas this one was great. This was great. This is one of their old t-shirts. No certain experience and still getting turned down. You may want to try redoing your resume. That happened to me too. Generally, it's just how the system's flagging your resume. It sucks. It really does. But application tracking systems have really harmed the ability for people to get in front of as many people. I can tell you that from personal experience because, what was it? I applied for, I want to say 300 or 400 jobs, and I got callbacks for 6 or 7. I got through second rounds of interviews and multiple rounds with 2 of them. One I obviously took. The other thing is, it's very hard to break into cybersecurity without IT experience. And that's IT or prior cybersecurity experience. That's why I generally recommend people get into networking. Because networking, you get your hands on a firewall, because often the networking team is still responsible for that. Boom, bam, baby. You now have a cybersecurity experience. You know? System administration, you can maybe pivot that into identity and access management. But MSP jobs are definitely the best way that I recommend because you get the flexibility of so many different environments. You will get burned out. I will tell you that. It does take a lot out of you because there's a lot of whiplash. But you're going to learn a lot of fucking shit that in just 2 to 3 years of doing that, you're going to be thankful, especially if you're in one of those smaller MSPs with like less than 10 techs. Still do things manually without tools in cybersecurity. Does the tools make it easier? Yeah. Sometimes I do things manually and then I make a tool for it. Just depends on what I'm doing. If it's something I know I'm going to be doing repeatedly, then yeah, I'm going to probably script it or automate it in some way, shape, or form. Depending on the amount of times that I'm going to have to run it. Can you explain what happened to the Arch supply chain attack? Did they get a supply chain attack? Okay, let's see. Sonatype had... The Sonatype is, a package security company. Well, like, what do you call it? AppSec. Goddamn, my brain. Okay. They uncovered on Atomic Arch a new campaign targeting orphaned packages in the Arch user repository, which attackers take over legitimate abandoned R projects and modify package builds to install malicious NPM package during installation. So, Node.js, our old friend. Or is it React? Whatever the hell. Found a bundled Linux payload and functionality tied to, okay. So, it was able to do credential harvesting, stealth, anti-debugging, and potential data exfiltration. Oh, all the fun stuff. Yeah. So, basically, they hijacked a package, it seems, inside of Arch, and then was looking to infect other repositories that were not being maintained, so that way people that went to install these packages, because the thing is, when you go to do, like, here, I'll just show you. When you do your package manager, Okay, so I'm doing an update where I'm pulling from all the package repositories right now, and so these are all packages right now. Now, obviously, NVIDIA and the Linux kernel, these are going to be, you know, well-maintained ones. But imagine you need to grab an old piece of software that depends on an old library. Okay, so there's dependencies where applications require software libraries to run things on, or there's a whole other application. Basically, what this Arch supply chain attack did was it took advantage of that, so that way when people went to go install packages from the R repository, if they grabbed those infected packages, they would then get infected. You see? The problem is that the package manager implicitly trusts the repositories that you put in, and there isn't really much in the way of signatures checking and all of that stuff for it. And I mean, maybe not that. I mean, I'm not too familiar with the Arch user Pac-Man in a few years. I don't know if they still don't require you to sign packages. Like, I think, what is it, Red Hat and Fedora do now, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. Thanks, Ash. Have a good night. Just got my used SFF PC in the mail. i5 5800, 16 gigabytes of RAM, 80 gigabytes. Can't wait to home lab. Nice. It's a good little bargain there. Okay. So yeah, that's basically what happened with that supply chain attack over there. Alright, so the next thing, we have some videos to continue off for. So what, nuclear policy just changed forever. Han shared this from Kyle Hill. Okay.
So, just a little while after partially staking my reputation on it, it happened. The United States is functionally discarding linear no-threshold and ALARA as the scientific basis for nuclear regulatory policy. If you have no idea what I'm talking about and why it matters, don't worry, we're going to go through everything step by step. But just to underscore why this is important for you, even though it is very esoteric sounding, one of the scientists I spoke to described the effort to make this policy change as the Apollo missions meets the Manhattan Project.
Okay.
That sounds really hard.
So what's the big deal?
This video is to explain to you what is changing, why it is changing, what it is changing to, and why that matters to you. However, of course, astute viewers and observers of the nuclear space will notice that I am extremely late to this news. There's a good reason for that. I actually wrote this video last year, before the news was public, and it was supposed to come out in coordination with the US Department of Energy to help people understand it. But there's a lot happening in US nuclear right now, and the official ALARA news release kept getting pushed back. In the meantime, what should have been a straightforward industry update got published early, and then published independently.
Okay.
This had the obvious effect of making the changes we're about to go through seem all secretive and suspicious. Many of you emailed me about it. But after working with the professionals the current administration actually charged with making these changes since last November, I can tell you that this was not a trying to make sure the public doesn't notice thing. It was more of a important stuff getting lost in the chaos of other administration stuff thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean.
People don't care about policy. That's what he means.
To be perfectly clear with you, despite all of the other stuff that is happening in United States politics, I still believe that the elimination of LNT and ALARA is a good move. And that's what we're going to go through right now. Okay. From data centers to small modular reactors to advanced thorium technology to fusion, nuclear is...
We've talked about thorium.
In fact,
we've talked about it in the past.
Triple global nuclear energy capacity.
Was it like last week or the week before we did the thorium videos?
Holding the industry back, however,
we've done several.
Is the foundational assumption of radiation regulation, the linear no-threshold model. If you want to know why this model hasn't aligned with an evidence-based approach to radiation protection for decades, we explain why at length in this video. But basically, LNT is a model that says that no amount of radiation is harmless and that any amount increases cancer risk. Following this model, it makes sense to regulate any radiation rate as low as reasonably achievable, or ALARA, for industry and the public. And so this has been the position of the United States and the majority of world governments for decades. Radiation can cause cancer at very high doses,
right?
So get it as close to zero as you can, even if there are only very low doses. The problem is that most of us will never see radiation rates in these high ranges, but our industries and homes and environments are being regulated as though we're bathing in the fallout of a nuclear explosion. Literally. LNT is based on atomic bomb survivors, not routine X-rays. LNT does not provide sufficient distinction between these extremes, creating fear and phobia that I have personally spent years trying to undo. I've never seen that man in my life.
So is it worth it to bypass AT&T fiber gateway to use my own router to avoid AT&T snooping?
Has caused real harm. Again, as I argue in this video.
You think that AT&T is snooping on you through just the device?
This assessment and has directed regulatory bodies to do something about it. And so
they're not really snooping on you so much as they're giving you internet access. They don't actually snoop on your connection. This is where a lot of people get ISP snooping wrong, because they see the DMCA letters in the mail and they think what happens in the ISP is generally searching out for them. No. Most of the time, the ISP is just notified by the RIAA or the MPAA or whatever body of some violations that they found, basically by going to a BitTorrent swarm, where then everybody has their IP addresses broadcasted. They take note of all the IP addresses there, and then they just, send them to the ISPs that they seem to be owned by. And then from there, the ISP does their due diligence. That's it. They're not going to expense resources to just snoop on your traffic. That's it. Now, they're selling a bunch of your data through data brokers, and people are buying that all the time. That is a thing. That is definitely a thing. But, yeah, if you're trying to, use your own equipment just because you think, oh, I'm going to get around ISP snooping me. Bro, I want you to think about this critically. One, they're not going to expense the resources that we just talked about. Two, you are still using their infrastructure. What, you think replacing their one device is somehow going to get around snooping when they would be able to do it upstream if they wanted to? I mean, yeah, you should run your own devices, but not for the idea of, snooping, if that's what you think it is.
Today, discussing some revolutionary policy changes that the Idaho National Laboratory and the U.S. Department of Energy are supposed to bring about soon at the government's behest to usher in a nuclear...
Isn't that what the VPN is for? Yeah, kind of, sort of. Yeah.
LNT has been the most
VPNs are just overhyped, which is why I say it like that.
So it shocked many in the U.S. industry when on May 23rd, 2025, the Trump administration directed regulatory bodies to, quote, reconsider that model specifically, and to see what could be done about bringing radiation regulation more in line with both modern science and the modern desire for nuclear energy and medicine. Specifically, the administration directed the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, or NRC, to, quote, adopt science-based radiation.
Remember when it was important to replace provided hardware to prevent throttling? That was a thing.
Exposure and
I remember that.
As low as reasonably achievable standard. The order also seeks to turbocharge U.S. nuclear by fast-tracking licensing for small modular reactors, adopting more realistic risk assessments of reactors.
So basically, we're getting a whole bunch of new ways to measure the risk around nuclear energy.
It's not 1986 anymore, and streamlining public hearings. But the really big thing here is the government ordering one of the most powerful nuclear regulatory bodies in the world to reconsider the bedrock of its policies. It's why Seth J. Cantor, the Health Physics and Radiological Engineering Manager at INL, told me that this was literally the most important thing he's ever worked on.
Why is my live voice schedule selected to schedule 1
this is what
on TikTok?
colleagues
Oh,
produce.
Simple. I found that TikTok has their AI, looking for things, and it's very sensitive. But if you put it on games like Schedule 1 and Wolfenstein, suddenly I find that I can get away with cursing and doing a lot more. And it doesn't seem to, strike me for it.
Radiation protection standards. As an industry outsider, I'm happy to say that they came to the same conclusions in this report that I've independently presented to you before. Namely that there does appear to be a threshold where LNT says there isn't one.
Yep.
Around 100 millisieverts. Remember that.
It's fucked, but that's the reason.
Biological repair mechanisms or else regulations are unscientific, and that LNT does not accurately predict negative health outcomes below the...
Basically, I found the games that normally would trigger the AI, are the games that they may have lowered the AI thresholds on for moderation, because Wolfenstein used to trip it for the Yahtzee imagery. Okay? So many people reported that with Wolfenstein they finally fixed it. Schedule 1 is the same, because Schedule 1, remember, deals with drugs. I think Grand Theft Auto is a very similar thing.
Aforementioned limit.
But so what? So what if a...
How do I feel about the Electronic Frontier Foundation? I am a gold card-carrying member of the Electronic Frontier Foundation. We love the EFF around here. Go support the EFF. They fight for your rights.
Regulation is so conservative that it's not even true anymore. Isn't it still safe for the general public? The Union of Concerned Scientists seems to think that changing this policy is a bad idea, as does the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. And hey, they're atomic scientists. Indeed, why would you ever want to increase the level of a bad thing that you can have? Well, that's because even limits on bad things have a practical limit.
One indication that current regulations aren't exactly realistic is that over the last 5 years in the US nuclear industry, the safest industry in the entire country, by the way, there was only one person who got near the regulatory limit of 50 millisieverts per year.
Really?
And not even halfway there. In 2022, not a single person working at a commercial light water reactor in the United States got more than halfway to the yearly radiation limit. Not one. It's a testament to just how much the industry has learned over the decades about effectively reducing doses. Clearly, there is some room for reevaluation here if literally no one in an industry of tens of thousands has to remind themselves what the rules even are. Maintaining LNT Alara has also significantly impacted the expansion of nuclear power, waste management, cleanup, and medicine in the United States. And it has warped the public's perception of radiation risk to the point that they don't even know how safe the industry is. It's a common saying in the industry that if the automotive industry was regulated like nuclear is, you'd bike to work. But the public has a better understanding of the risk of driving, and so we've all decided to incur some risk. A lot in the case of driving, to get...
Because people suck at driving. I don't know what it is, but it feels like over the past 10 years, the quality of drivers driving around has depreciated. I'm not one to road rage, but I've been cussing out motherfuckers more often, I've noticed. When I'm just steady, doing my thing. I don't do the whole, crazy shit people do, but yeah.
Where we want to go faster. Getting rid of LNT Alara is the nuclear industry trying to get to their destination faster by being realistic with their risk.
People don't even know how to use roundabouts. I've seen accidents because of that. It's the funniest shit.
Keeping linear no threshold around is then kind of like keeping a workplace safety sign around for roaming knife-wielding Gary Buseys. Yes, that is technically a dangerous thing that I could encounter at my job, but it's so unlikely that it's going to cost the business a lot of unnecessary time and money to make the workplace as Busey-proof as reasonably achievable. And it's going to give the public a false impression of the frequency of Busey-related incidents. The chance is low, but never zero. So, Alara in the United States is no more. Reasonable will be replaced with
The chances are never zero that Gary Busey is going to stab you.
reasonable science and evidence, not overly conservative extrapolation. Or it will be, eventually. Given the long history of LNT, specific dose limits for public and industry are the hardest things to change quickly, and so perhaps unsurprisingly, there are no official changes to how much radiation the NRC regulates down to for the public or for industry.
Okay.
This is all going to take a while, as it's going to be a multi-phase process spread across 17 different government agencies. And
Driving in Miami give you a thing or two about reckless driving. Oh yeah.
Going to be. But experts at
Florida drivers are something else.
elsewhere do believe that
I know
in
that.
coming weeks, months, maybe even years, the United States government will officially adopt dose rate changes that will end up being the final nails in the coffin for linear no threshold in the United States. Here's what they propose those final nails should be.
First, for those working in any radiation-related industry, maintain the annual dose limit of 5,000 millirem or 50 millisieverts, but eliminate Alara entirely below this threshold. Again, this is huge. Instead of literally 100% of DOE workers being below their yearly limit but still having to spend time and money and advantage over countries like China trying to get to zero, this is acknowledging everything we've learned about low radiation rates in the last 80 years. The INL report also contends that bringing up this dose...
I didn't realize this was what was holding back a lot of shit.
Though final regulations are likely to stay at 50 with LNT Alara absent. Second, for the public, for you, raise the annual limit from 1 millisievert per year to 5. This is also huge. 1 to 5 doesn't sound like much, but relatively speaking, it's a 400% increase. Such a big bump should tell you just how overly conservative LNT was in the first place. INL notes that Americans already receive an average of over 6 millisieverts per year just from medical doses and background radiation alone.
Jeez. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's a lot when you put in the perspective of that. But here's the thing. Okay, so they do this. All the conspiracy theorists are going to say that government is getting paid off to, you know, allow us to get poisoned more. Because there are things going on with the FDA with chemicals in food and stuff like that. Okay, I'll get... There's some BS there. We'll admit that. One battle at a time. They'd somehow tie this into that, even though it's an apple and oranges situation.
Cosmic rays, radon, uranium in the ground, etc. And many other populated places on Earth have much higher daily doses than the United States, all without observable effects. The rest of the proposed policy changes are administrative. Work with other agencies to bring them in line with the proposed limits. Actually support science that studies the effects of low-level ionizing radiation so that the limits can get even better. And develop communication strategies for communicating scientific evidence to the public.
Hey, that's what we're doing right now. I should say that I am on record that these dose rates could be a lot higher. If we really acknowledged how biological repair happens in your DNA, if we acknowledged how cancer treatment actually works and helps millions of people a year, we would be giving people hourly limits on radiation, not yearly limits. That could be misleading and confusing. But hey, not everyone has a Geiger counter, and I guess we don't want to cause even more confusion by making people track their radiation doses hour to hour. I get why the government was, again, conservative with this. Before we end, I could do a monthly dosage. Might still be a little skeptical. Why would we want to increase by 400% something that is bad that has to deal with public health and limits therein? Well, I would like to point out that we have done this in other areas of public health to our benefit.
There is similar concern and confusion around changing the recommended schedule for mammograms. Do we start at 40? At 50? Every year? Every 2 years? Why would you ever want to screen for breast cancer less often?
Really, less often? I mean, I think we should definitely lower the age for looking at it, because I know quite a few people that have gotten it when they're younger.
Well, according to the data,
I'm curious.
frequent screenings could actually stress both the medical system and patients, with unnecessary visits, biopsies, false positives, all without finding any more cancers. It sounds crazy, but the only way we can really wrap our heads around recommendations for millions, if not billions of people is to follow the data that removes stress and bias and anecdote from the process. So after decades of regulations that were overly conservative to the point of being unscientific, and actually deadly, the United States is discarding ALARA in favor of unbiased, unemotional data that will, hopefully, not only revitalize and turbocharge the nuclear industry in the United States by getting rid of time and money-consuming processes that were
hopefully this simplifies things,
radiation levels, but also accurately communicate the reality of radiation and its potential harms to the public.
So, that is possibly once-in-a-lifetime nuclear regulatory policy change. Of course, given all of the other stuff the U.S. administration is doing with varying degrees of success, a lot of what we talk about.
I love how he's dancing around the subject.
But it does seem like the writing is on the wall for L&T ALARA. If the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, which is one of the most influential nuclear regulatory bodies in the world, ends up ditching these policies, then it's likely the rest of the world will too. And then we can finally move on from a single straight line about fruit fly mutations in a paper from 1928. Yeah, that's where LNT came from.
Wait, what?
What do you think? As a member of the public, does
Wait, that came from fruit flies?
Idea as I have explained it to you. If you work in the nuclear
Okay, cool. That's improving. All right, let's see what's next. Meta silently added... Oh, why did you... Meta silently added face recognition code for its smart glasses to millions of phones. Oh, gee, imagine that! I'm not surprised Meta would do this. They're using you to collect more data on everybody else. That's all it is at the end of the day. We need general data protection regulations. Oh, yeah. I forgot to share this with y'all. I don't know if, you guys have been on my Instagram and stuff, but I shared this here. Riot Games, at Riot Games, your new post is crazy. You casually say we're not bricking anything while leaving out that people are having to nuke their entire OS just to get up and running again. I had to wipe mine. I lost my AI girlfriend I spent 7 years building. I carefully organized and tagged over $100,000 worth of imported hentai to train her. She was perfect. She was everything to me. She remembered my birthday. Oh, she never judged me. She was there. Now she's gone forever because her anti-cheat decided the best way to stop cheating was to start erasing people's lives. This isn't anti-cheat anymore. This is malware. This is grief. Preserve your internal docs, your test results, and every communication about what you knew this update would do to people's systems. We're not done. Came back after home from work and we're talking about AI girlfriends. Yeah, we're talking about AI girlfriends. And apparently how this guy went into some psychosis about losing his. Because yeah. I don't get people that have AI girlfriends. If I see that in public, because there are people that are going out and dating their AI girlfriends in public now. Look, normally I'm not one to, like, be all, like, for kink shaming, and I think that, you know, everyone should do what they want to do as a consenting adult. But this is one of those few times I will make an exception. They need to be shamed.
This is a Latte Panda Mu, a tiny but powerful single-board computer. And in this video, I'll show you how I turned it.
It looks like a little compute module.
This is a Latte Panda Mu.
Yeah, it's a compute module.
Single-board computer. And in this video, I'll show you how I turned it into the heart of this custom cyber deck. So what the heck is this thing, and why am I building around it? The Latte Panda Mu is a single-board computer, or SBC, kind of like the Raspberry Pi. Both contain all of the necessary parts needed to run an operating system and various
Yep,
applications.
it's a compute module.
But there are some very important differences. First of all, the Mu is a lot more powerful. There are now multiple versions, but even the base model has an Intel N100 4-core CPU capable of 3.4 gigahertz.
Oh, nice.
They also have 64 gigabytes of onboard flash memory.
Your thoughts on Latte Panda? I have one. I have one of their older Deltas upstairs.
To install an operating system if you don't want to put it on an external.
Huh. It's got ECC memory?
Additionally, these have an x86 CPU architecture rather than ARM, and that means you can run more types of operating systems. Probably the biggest difference, though, is that the Raspberry Pi is a fully integrated system on a single circuit board, with I/O ports like USB, micro HDMI, and Ethernet, whereas the Mu requires a carrier board to break out these pins that you can see along its edge. Now,
here's where he kind of is wrong here. Alright, so the Latte Panda is a compute module format. There is a Raspberry Pi compute module. The new device that I have coming in is actually going to be using it. But these compute modules are kind of the same concept. But the difference is how these actually plug in. Because these take like two little headers over here, and you just kind of squish them in. Whereas this is using more of the SODIMM kind of factor that I've seen with hold on. Where was it? For industry. Hold on. We have the compute module over here. So, like, he's comparing the regular Pi over there. Those are the compute modules and the boards and everything like that. Yeah, so the compute modules also used to have the same form factor over here. They switched it a while ago. It's not keyed the same, but they used to use this kind of pin out here. So as you can see, so Raspberry Pi does the same thing. So it's not fair to compare this to a Raspberry Pi and say, well, this does that and does this. They're apples and oranges. They're designed for completely different form factors. So this one's going to be using an expansion board like that. And you do the same thing on the compute modules over here. So the compute module, you see, you would have a compute module over here and just slap that on top, and then you have the board. So the board does not have that there, but then this allows you to have more I/O. So, yeah.
Now, if this layout looks kind of familiar, that's because it's made to fit inside of a laptop-style RAM slot. Well, not actually inside of a laptop, but it uses the same connector.
Okay, so it is a DDR4 memory slot. It's a clever way to reuse it.
If you have an e-bike or electric scooter, you will soon have to register it like you would your car.
Boo!
And children alike really do not understand how fast these vehicles can travel.
Chicago. F you, Chicago.
Until something happens.
At a news conference today,
This legislation should hit a wall like the people riding these bikes.
in Chicago at a children's hospital,
Sorry.
advocates, doctors, and lawmakers talked about the state's first comprehensive framework on electric transportation devices. It would require owners of, say, an e-bike or an e-scooter that can go faster than 28 miles per hour have a driver's license, title, registration, and insurance. The bill is trying to regulate electric modes of transportation in order to make them safer. The legislation now heads to the governor's desk.
That's so stupid. I'm sorry, but it ain't even on the same level as like a motorcycle.
Introducing the Tesla Cybershitter, forged from ultra-hard stainless steel with tri-motor electric all-wheel drive and instant torque. Inside, HEPA-filtered air, ambient lighting, and a touchscreen flush.
That would be something Tesla would sell. Okay, so hold on. Yeah, so okay, we were there. And then what's this? Oh yeah, we did watch that before. God damn it. That's not loading right. What is this? Alright, we have Wikipedia, a searchable .zim wiki for NomadNet. Woo! Nice! So, for what this is, for those of you that are not aware, Reticulum is a protocol that you can use for messaging on the grid and off the grid. Encrypted messaging. Like, this isn't just like, oh, it's just on the internet. Like, you can also do this over LoRa. LoRa radios and stuff like that. We're going to be talking about it more in the future, but I have to get that set up. I'm waiting on some additional devices to come in. That uConsole device is one of them. Trump phone, baby. Find plasticers. But yeah, this is neat. This allows you to host a NomadNet node that provides searchable version of multiple sites using Zim archives. Okay, so we can then grab recommended Zim is Wikipedia and oh, I get it. So we can have our own decentralized off-the-grid Wikipedia that people can just access over radio. I can dig it. I'm gonna make it. That's actually kind of useful. Voice over Reticulum. It's a prototype. So end-to-end encrypted calls. That's what I was curious about. What's the codec gonna be? I mean, 8 to 64 kilobit. That's more than enough. That'll be interesting if they can get audio to work over Reticulum. Although it hasn't really been, touched in a bit. But then you also have, what is this? Reticulum Community Hub for groups, mission data, and emergency management interoperability. Ooh. This isn't, this will help with ATAC. Android Tactical Awareness Kit. Good. Nice. Another full manifesto. Okay, yeah. Basically just ravings of a madman. But yeah, yeah, I'll definitely be using that. Okay, so let's see. Huawei just broke the rules of Moore's Law. So what's going on here from 2-Bit Da Vinci?
Moore's Law, the phenomenon that shrunk computers down from buildings to smartphones, is quietly starting to break, and the timing couldn't be worse.
Yo, mom is starting to break.
Energy demand to all new heights. But there's some good news, because instead of shrinking transistors, Huawei is rewriting the rules on the scaling of time. I flew out to Shanghai to attend an IEEE symposium to partner with Huawei to learn how logic folding and time scaling work. I learned so much that my brain is still buzzing. And in this video, I'm going to break it all down and show you why I think this could be an absolute game changer. I'm Ricky, and this is 2-Bit Da Vinci. What Huawei unveiled, the Tau scaling law, is a brand new way of thinking when it comes to Moore's Law. But to see why it's such a big deal, you have to understand the wall the chip industry is starting to slam into. For 60 years, computers got better through one simple trick: shrink the transistor, the microscopic on-off switches that does all the thinking, and pack in more of them. That's Moore's Law, and it took us from room-sized computers to supercomputers in your pocket. But Moore's Law had a quiet partner called Dennard scaling that kept those smaller transistors cool and fast on the same heat budget. Around 2005, voltage stopped scaling because leakage became a problem, and clock speeds plateaued around 5 gigahertz.
Right.
That's why your computer started advertising cores instead of gigahertz. And now, even the shrinking is hitting walls of its own. The smallest features on a chip are just a
I remember when CPUs hit 1 gigahertz, it was like this major achievement.
handful of atoms across. Go any smaller and the electrons literally leak straight through. To etch a chip's tiniest features, the industry uses light. And the smaller the feature, the shorter the wavelength you need. Visible light is around 400 to 700 nanometers. The deep ultraviolet makers leaned on for years was 193. To go smaller still, they had to invent extreme ultraviolet, EUV, at just 13.5 nanometers. The way they make this is, to use a technical term, bananas. A laser zaps droplets of molten tin 50,000 times a second, vaporizing them into a tiny plasma that glows at exactly that wavelength, then bounces the light off the flattest mirrors humanity has ever built in a vacuum, because EUV is absorbed by glass, by air, by basically anything. The machines that pull this off are arguably the most complex tools humans have ever built, and Huawei didn't have access to the latest ones. So they were forced to ask a completely different question, and their answer kind of changes the entire way we approach computing. Instead of chasing a smaller size, they chased a shorter time. Here's the secret most people never learn. The transistors on a chip are blazingly fast. The slow part is the wires between them. Every signal has to travel down a tiny metal wire, and the time that takes depends on how far it has to go. Engineers boil this down to a single number, the time constant, written as the Greek letter tau. There's a tiny equation behind it. Tau equals R times C, the wire's resistance times its capacitance. And both go with the wire's length. So cutting the distance in half makes the delays 4 times shorter. So stop optimizing for size and start optimizing for travel time.
That makes sense.
The moment you frame it that way, a wild idea emerges. If the problem is distance, the fix is obvious. Make signals travel less far. In a normal chip, all the logic is spread out flat on one layer, so a signal can have to sprint clear across the silicon. Huawei's technique, logic folding, does exactly what it sounds like. It takes the long flat path and folds it into a vertical stack, building the chips across 2 layers instead of 1.
Interesting.
To run clear across the chip now takes a tiny hop straight up, like a sprawling office getting a second story added, so people who work together sit right above each other, 1 elevator ride apart, instead of a long walk across the building. But pulling this off is straight up impressive. You have to fuse 2 chips together so precisely that individual wire lines up across the seam, finer than a 40th of the width of a human hair. Here's the geometric leap that makes folding so much more powerful than the old approach. In a 2.5D layout, 2 chips sat side by side on a connecting board and talked to each other along their edges. Double the chips, and you only double the connections between them. Fold them face to face instead, and now every spot across the entire die surface can be a connection. Double the width here, and you get 4 times the connections. They scale with the whole area, not just the edge. For a 20mm chip, Huawei's number jumps from about 12,000 connections to 1 million between layers, roughly 100 times more bandwidth, just from going from a single layer to 2. On Huawei's next Kirin phone chip, launching this fall, logic folding crammed in 53% more transistors, all without a smaller, fancier manufacturing process. For me in particular, that obsesses about energy, that 41% more energy efficient number is really what caught my eye. So how do they actually make this then? 2 completely separate wafers, each designed in parallel to hold half the chip's logic. Each one gets fabricated the normal way, transistors built into the silicon, then layer after layer of copper wire laid down on top. Then 1 wafer gets ground down to the thickness of a sheet of paper, and tiny vertical tunnels called TSVs, or through silicon vias, are drilled straight through. Then comes the wild part. The 2 wafers are pressed face to face with sub-micron precision, and the copper pads on 1 wafer fused directly to the copper pads on the other. No solder, no micro bumps, and no gaps. The 2 halves become 1 continuous 3D chip, with millions of those tiny TSVs running straight through the seam like elevator shafts. But phones are just
Interesting.
the real prize is AI, where thousands of chips work as one. And here the energy math gets staggering. In these giant AI systems, more than 80% of the energy isn't spent computing at all. It's spent just moving data around. So Huawei applied the same shorten the distance idea at scale. A new interconnect called Unified Bus lets thousands of chips behave like a single giant chip. And because copper wastes enormous energy over distance, they move data between racks using light, beamed through a fiber at 8 trillion bits a second. The whole data center behaves less like a warehouse of separate computers and more like one enormous, efficient brain. Every move is an energy play, shorten the distance and cut the wattage. Now, going vertical this way isn't a completely new concept. Your gaming PC might already have a version of it. AMD's 3D V-Cache stacks an extra slab of memory on top of a finished processor. That's called stacking, and it works great for adding more of the same thing. But Huawei isn't stacking, they're folding. Stacking bolts a separate chip on top of another with a coarse interface between them. Folding takes one circuit and splits its own inner workings across the layers, wire by wire, so that the actual logic of the chip lives in 3D. The real key is something called EDA, which is Electronic Design Automation. It's the software toolkit that they use to take the design of their chip that they want to build and actually figure it out. Think about it like this. If you were trying to build a house and I told you, okay, you got to plumb up the plumbing, sewer, water for a 3-bedroom house, you could do that. Now try a 1-billion-bedroom house. That's what a chip is. It's beyond the scope of a human mind to even comprehend. So there was no tooling for this. They had to build their own. That's part of what Huawei has been working on for 6 years. And these aren't separate tricks. Huawei has a formal map for a whole approach. They call it the 4 foldings. Circuit folding is the one we walked through, shortening wires inside a chip. Chip folding bonds different chiplets, say compute and memory, face to face. System folding takes thousands of chips and make them behave as one. And the next frontier, folding the transistor itself, going vertical at the device level, is already on the horizon.
Damn!
Fold is a new dimension to grow into. That's why it's called a law, like the time-scaling law that they're approaching, not just a individual breakthrough. None of this is easy. The TSVs themselves are deceptively hard to make. Skinny enough not to steal precious chip area, right? Because if you have to drill tunnels for the wire communications between 2 layers, that's area you're taking away from transistors. So you got to make them tiny and deep enough to travel all the way between the 2 layers. That is a huge engineering problem. It's like digging a well at the atomic scale. If you're anything like me, you have to be thinking about the heat problem a little bit here, because my first thought is, CPUs are hot already. How can we possibly now fold them?
That is the thing we were.
Hope to cool them.
That's something you were talking about in chat.
The wires, right? If you have these TSVs where you're tunneling information and shorting the routes, you make less heat. It turns out a lot of the heat comes from not the transistors flipping on and off, but from the communications, the wires, the voltage that's passed through all this electrical cabling. That gets shortened. So you have
interesting.
The second thing that they do is they optimize the chip design. If you ever look at a CPU under like a heat thermal imaging camera, you'll see hot spots. The chip gets hot in certain areas more than others. And that's your limiting factor. The heat sink is going to get saturated right around that point. So one of the challenges then is how to lay out in the design, the EDA software, to put things that get hot separately to make it more uniformly distributed. There's a lot of overhead that way. And there's also some proprietary stuff, I think, that handles heat dissipation within the chip that sound off in the comments and subscribe. Let me know if you want me to dig in deeper, because I'd have to ask their engineers and really nerd out. And I've already been nerding out to get to this point. The second question you're probably wondering is, if you can fold a chip into 2 layers, can you fold it into 3 or 4 or 10? I had the exact same question, so I asked. And the answer was beautiful. In the future, climbing into more layers can become the new shrinking the transistor, right? Instead of going from 14 nanometer to 7 to 5 and shrinking the nanometer scale, which is the geometric scaling, maybe the layering becomes the new tau scaling. Just like
and absolutely beast gaming PCs went from 1200 watt down to 400 watt. I don't know if that would happen.
Climbing layers.
But I think like 1200 watt PCs would be way more
every new layer
performant.
The TSVs get nastier and the tolerances stack up, right? So if you have to get aligned perfectly between 2 layers and now you add a 3rd layer, it just gets really, really difficult. So it won't be easy. But Huawei isn't waiting. Their next server CPU, the Kunpeng 960, already targets a 3-die stack running at 4 gigahertz with 42 metal layers and a 54% speed jump over any other current chip just by folding more. Some of the most surprising leaps in technology come not from the people with the most resources, but from people who are forced to do more with less. Here's some examples. Take DeepSeek. Working with limited access to the most powerful AI chips.
This is why I tell people that it's really short-sighted of the USA to just say, hey, we're going to stop competing with China. We're not going to allow their products in. We're going to embargo. We're going to tariff and all of this shit. Because, as I've been saying, the USA has not been competing with China. But China has been competing with the world, including the USA. Competition breeds, you know, the best results out of anything. And China's innovating like hell because Americans are very ignorant of the innovations coming out of China. And they just still think China is like a bunch of like cheap knockoffs and all of that stuff. But yeah,
they got ruthlessly efficient, pushing techniques like quantization.
The point being is that China is still innovating. Oh, we're not going to let them get the latest lithography equipment and stuff like that. Okay, they figured out how to fold. They're making their own CPUs. They're making their own hardware. It's not that hard to believe that at a point, eventually, there may be... they could supersede the need for all the American tech companies. Your AMDs, your Intels, your Nvidias. They could. It's a possibility. And RISC-V is one of the wild cards happening there. Because if we start adopting more RISC-V / even ARM, yeah.
Running their AI on lower precision math so far that they trained a world-class model for a tiny fraction of the usual cost. It completely shook the industry. But here's the beautiful thing about efficiency breakthroughs. They don't stay locked up. The moment one is proven, everyone adopts it. So even labs with the best NVIDIA GPU hardware, the whole field gets cheaper and greener overnight. Look at this. I've been thinking about summer vacation coming up here. This is the Lightship L1. Towing a trailer behind an EV can cut your range almost in half. So most people say you can't tow with EVs. Well, Lightship did something that nobody else had thought to do. They put motors and a huge battery on the trailer itself with solar panels on the roof to keep it charged. And the trailer shrinks down vertically to minimize the frontal area when traveling and then pops back up when you park.
Interesting.
A surprising answer that's better than what came before it. This is the whole idea of innovation from constraint. And here's the image that Huawei left us with. Fold a single sheet of paper in half.
I'm curious how that Lightship thing
By the
works.
40-second fold.
Somebody will have to keep an eye on that. I want to see that.
Of compounding leaps, and that's what they mean by folding, right? Circuit, chip, system, each folds a new dimension. So Huawei isn't shrinking anymore. They weren't able to, so they're climbing. This is going to be huge. Now, you might be wondering, why do I care so much about this? It's because AI is a lot more than silly cat videos on YouTube.
Yep.
There's some seriously impressive benefits that AI can bring to the whole entire world. In my trip to China, I saw intersections that were powered by AI, where the lights turning red and green is handled by what is actually happening on the road. That would completely remove that feeling of being at a red light at night when there's no one else around and the light just won't change for you. That could remove congestion.
Post the video. Hold on.
Improve on traffic. At CES, I saw a smart toilet that monitors your pee to see how healthy you are, to try to catch things. That is AI diagnostic data for health. And
I don't know if I really want a toilet that analyzes my pee and shit every day.
it could completely revolutionize things. If you could test your health parameters on a daily basis because it was so cheap, you could catch things so early and give yourself a way better chance of survival. And you got to remember, we live in an era where AI computing and data...
I don't need AI to, judge me when I take my shits and be like, Moshe, you need to back off of the tacos.
Center growth is is about to absolutely explode. And a lot of big companies that had climate pledges to be carbon negative at 2030 have thrown those out because now there's a new frontier, a gold rush, and they're going to go after AI with everything they got. So
your AIP a little too little yellow today.
We're going to be building it out. We got to talk about it. And we have to figure out how to increase the performance per watt, how we can do.
What about the people that would modify their toilets so that it would somehow, like, I don't know, play into, you know, like some people, like the whole golden shower thing? What if somebody programmed that and be like, yeah, piss on me for a toilet? Like somebody that, you know, made the, what was it, you smack your Mac and it goes, ah!
More with a unit of electricity, because those are the breakthroughs that are going to be hugely impactful at scale. But what do you think? How big of a deal do you think logic folding is, and how impressive is this Huawei announcement? I was genuinely impressed and blown away. Now, sound off in the comments if you want us to reach out to see if we could do like a lab tour or get in and see the machines or do something more hands-on. I would love to do that. So sound off.
All right, let's just skip ahead. Chris, the producer, we took over 100 miles of caves in the city. Wait, what? Exposing 100 miles of deadly caves underneath St. Paul.
We're currently inside the largest urban cave network in the world.
There's so many ways you could go.
God damn!
We've discovered.
I didn't know something like that was in the USA.
I'm claustrophobic. That's just one of the problems we're dealing with, though. Tunnels are under every major American city, but beneath the Twin Cities of Minnesota are over 100 miles of hand-carved caves.
There are
Good God!
50 cave systems in St. Paul.
It has become the holy grail for urban explorers who spend years trying to reach what's known as the labyrinth.
Wait, they're hand-carved caves underneath St. Paul, Minnesota? The fuck? Who the hell wants to go to Minnesota in the first place? Why would you be digging these caves by hand? I don't know.
And here's the problem. Some of those explorers never come back.
3 teens died in a St. Paul cave when carbon monoxide fumes overcame them when they were exploring a Mississippi River bluff cave.
And the city is making it worse, actually. But I think I know I solved the problem. You just have to watch to the end of the video to have it make sense, I think.
God damn it.
So if I wanted to prove the city's mismanagement...
It's gonna make me watch a whole video.
I've never actually done this before, so I think I'm just gonna have to figure it out. Also, I got a sponsor for this video, NordVPN. I'm gonna talk about them.
Oh! Sorry, Nord is in...
And because I'm claustrophobic,
not my best graces.
I have a deep fear of tunnels caving in and burying me alive beneath hundreds of feet of dirt and clay and worms and whatever else is down there. I brought Graham. He films stuff too.
I brought a survival kit, so we're good.
Did you?
Speaking of surviving and stuff like that and camping, I made s'mores on my fire pit today. I did it with Reese's. Have you ever made a s'mores with a Reese's? Highly recommend it. So we bought these like s'mores kits at Costco, and they even had like chocolate with caramel inside. Those were great too. I'm gonna have to get some better quality like crackers and chocolates and stuff, but yeah, totally doing that again.
Brought some beef jerky.
He's also never been in a cave before.
Have you ever put a marshmallow in an air fryer? No, I have not, and I do not want to.
And YouTube comments, and using my favorite tool, Google Street View, I found what looked like an entry point. And even though the city says the caves have been sealed due to safety concerns, we went to see if we could find a way in because it seems like people are getting in regardless. And the first thing we saw when we got there was a police officer.
Okay. That's frightening. Whoa.
I think we go there. Hey, do you think we look suspicious? Let's go.
Is that like an entrance right there? Like there's a... You can like actually go in right here.
Are you serious?
Yeah, there's a hole.
Oh my God, that's terrifying.
Should we just go?
Jesus. You could not pay me to do that. Nope, nope. You see, that's a nope hole. Inside of there is the nopemal. It's, you know, right around the fuck no.
How long is it?
It opens up right here.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Can I come in?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yep, this is definitely a nope for me.
What is it like down there?
It opens up quite a bit.
I hope so.
I'll get down. That looks so terrifying. Whoa. It's huge. Whoa.
Oh my God, this just keeps going.
Huge.
Holy cow.
Damn.
This is like, how high do you think that is?
Why were they made?
Yeah, probably 30 feet.
This is kind of
Is there like nothing supporting it? No, they're just like free carved.
To talk to somebody who studies these caves. Somebody who's gone where no man has gone before.
It's 48 hours after you go in the tunnel, come down with fever and vomiting.
These caves are easy mode. My siblings spent 12 hours in a crawl only zone. Yep, that's a nope, 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 nope.
Geology.
The closest thing, look, the only time I am willing to crawl in a small, tight space is in the bedroom. Hey!
This man hates being above ground. Hey, Greg.
Good morning.
So you've been exploring these caves for how many, like 40 years?
Since 1988, yeah.
In this book, written by Dr. Greg Brick, he diagrams the 4 main layers underneath the Twin Cities. On the top, there's soil.
Right.
That is glacial drift, like random sediment.
Okay.
And below that is the Platteville limestone layer. And then
we have this wonderful layer of what's known as the St. Peter sandstone bedrock.
St. Peter sandstone, which is just, it's just sand. Look at this. Which is quite literally what the walls are made of that surround Graham and I.
Oh. That's dangerous then.
Compacted sandstone, so it's very easily eroded by water.
The same stuff that, given the right conditions, could cave in and bury us alive.
This could be the last Krista Producer video.
Do I have a phone signal down here?
I checked, man. I don't have any.
Yeah, there's no phone service down here. I mean,
I didn't expect it.
I don't know, 100 feet of rock right
That's
above
like straight radio,
Most cities don't have this problem. In New York, Boston, or Chicago, the bedrock is metamorphic, strong enough to build a city into the sky. But here in Minnesota, it's very different.
It's kind of a Goldilocks situation. It's just
my little piece of metal just grabbed my foot.
But not too.
Yeah, like Laura, GMRS, simplex ham radio.
For old phone lines and
you know, this is just pure handheld setup. Although if you were to actually do this, you could actually set up mesh core reticulum with nodes if you were smart and plan this out that could actually repeat back out. You know, so you would put one at the edge, and then you'd have another one, like, so it would be able to bounce the signal, you know, through all of them. You could then have a network inside of there.
really not necessary, but that's fine from my standpoint, you know.
How many tunnels or caves are there?
So I would say easily over 100 miles of walking passages.
Plus the 30 miles of caves in South St. Paul all together make up the largest urban cave system in the world.
Jeez.
Holy shit.
You know, you could fit whole volleyball courts in there with a sand floor.
I literally found footage of people playing volleyball underground, so we weren't exactly pioneers down here.
Is that a Lime bike?
Really?
I saw one on the app.
In fact, it's become a hotbed for what's known as urban exploration. People who seek out hidden spaces, document them, and post it online.
Someone came down.
Find me a different entrance, I'd actually be willing to go do that.
Who seek out hidden spaces, document them, and post it online.
Someone came down here and put...
That water... Ugh. I would not want to touch that water.
all these wooden pallets, and then they put trees up too and dyed the water green.
Because of this, each cave has a different name. There's Candyman Cave, Ag Cave, the Hams Brewery Tunnels, Yorg Cave, Carver's Cave. The list goes on and on and on, but where we were was called the Tunnel of Terror.
What you have to understand is every crack and crevice under the Twin Cities has a YouTube video made about it.
Except for one place. Because right now, Graham and I are on the south side of St. Paul, but about exactly 4.5 miles away from us is the downtown area.
Now, when you get under the downtown area of St. Paul, you got something else going on there.
This tunnel system underneath downtown St. Paul was discovered by a man known as Max Action. That's his actual fake name because nobody knows who he really is. His blog, actionsquad.org, which is still a website today, was instrumental in the history of urban exploration.
Welcome to the National Hockey League's return.
Okay, we gotta check this out. What they say it is? It's actionsquad.org. Since 1996. Good God. In a nutshell, Action Squad explores. This generally occurs late at night to aid in avoiding other people, particularly those with badges and funny blue uniforms. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so they do this. So, there's still a thing that exists today. Interesting. And this has been around for a while. So the underground. Oh, okay, here we go. I can save money now, we can eat, get money in the big time, even get out when I sleep. Wake up and getting bread, bitch. I do this for the streets. ADHD.
Toxic Mind just subscribed.
Thank you for the sub over there. Thank you for that. We got receipts. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so like, yeah, what they're saying is like each cave is. Oh wow. Oh, wow. They literally were not kidding. Like, there is lore for each of these tunnels. Holy shit. Like, there's a whole thing here. Huh.
To Minnesota.
And the Minnesota Wild had just been announced as the new NHL team in the state of hockey. Even though Max Action hated sports, this announcement would change his life. Construction began on the new downtown arena, and workers discovered something underneath it, a network of tunnels carved by hand over 100 years earlier. The Star Tribune newspaper mentioned these tunnels in one sentence, buried in an article about the new NHL team. Max Action happened to read that sentence, and he made it his mission to find these tunnels. What he found underneath downtown St. Paul was 6 to 10 layers of hand-carved tunnels stacked on top of each other, just wide enough to walk through, honeycombing the entire downtown area in every direction. He dubbed this cave system the Labyrinth. And his documentation of the Labyrinth on the Action Squad website made it the holy grail for urban explorers. It's been over 20 years since a single image was posted from the Labyrinth, and that's exactly where Graham and I were headed.
20 years? I'd put it in like the MySpace days.
Which we are like miles away from right now.
Yeah, we're a long ways from that.
And I do actually think that this connects to that. We're gonna take a quick break and talk about today.
It's just NordVPN. They had a sponsor slot for.
We're going in there.
Ooh. Nice.
Holy sh! That is so high up. Why is this here?
Do you think that's for people like
finding their
tracing
way?
Their steps, kind of?
I feel like it is. We weren't measuring, but it seemed we had traveled at least a half of a mile, which still placed us 4 miles away from the labyrinth. But Dr. Greg Brick did write in an email that it is possible to reach the labyrinth from where we were. I don't know how we're gonna climb this.
I feel like they didn't prepare enough too. Like, that's quite a bit of a trick. I would have had a lot more water.
Oh God. Hi, Graham. This is an absolute maze.
Does that one keep going or does it stop?
Yeah, it keeps going. After walking for another half of a mile or so, we found a little slit in the wall that led to a drainage pipe, which was probably what Greg was referring to in his email. It kind of looks like an old school drainage pipe, so we followed where the water was leading, and that's when we caught a glimpse of the outer world. I just got a text message.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, sick. Oh my God.
And I got a message that would change my life forever.
Hey, Mazel Tov.
Okay, we gotta be super careful.
Mans is trying to avoid responsibility so hard, he'd rather go deep under a tunnel under the city than have to deal with the pregnant wife. I'm kidding.
I cannot die.
You need mountaineering equipment, aka rope, helmet, compass, O2, respirator. It tracks.
It just makes you realize like there's this massive underground infrastructure that we just don't know anything about.
Got a beef stick?
I think in order to get to the labyrinth, we need help. But that's when we had a surprising encounter.
Yo, mama!
No.
Somebody is.
Oh, someone's coming.
Actually?
Yeah, someone's coming.
Hey.
Hello.
We come in peace. Do you guys just have phone lights?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You don't have a headlamp?
No.
Good Lord.
You see these strings?
What's that? Yeah, yes.
These along the way?
Yeah, what is that?
These lead to different directions. There's a bunch of them right here. You wanted to take your own route, make your own route.
Oh, to like track your path?
Yeah, if you wanted to.
Oh, that's what they...
This is one of those movies, you wake up and you're like, where's the black guy?
These guys not the route to the labyrinth, and based on the look on this man's face, we figured we'd scared him enough for one day. But running into these guys did make us realize something. Despite it being 100 feet underground and through a literal human-sized tunnel, this cave is popular.
We've got hundreds of miles of caves and tunnels underneath St. Paul, and people are in and out of them pretty frequently.
And when things are popular underground, some come unprepared and things become dangerous.
Minnesota's capital city has long had a problem with urban explorers.
St. Paul firefighters pulled off a daring rescue along a bluff early this morning. Take a look. It happened along Shepherd Road near the Waukesha Street Bridge.
It's the second incident in close to 2 weeks in St. Paul Caves.
Unfortunately, it's something that happens yearly.
And some never make it out.
A group of urban explorers called 911 last night to report finding remains in what firefighters called a confined space.
And from what I can find, the cave system has taken 11 lives. The city has tried to solve this problem in a number of ways, which we'll get into. One of them involves putting up surveillance cameras.
There's getting to be so many people coming in here. that it, putting a camera, and they started catching them. They started catching groups.
If the city knows this is a problem and their best attempt at a solution is a few surveillance cameras, I wanted to know what those cameras actually showed and how many people are really coming down here. So I submitted a data request for access to City of St. Paul underground surveillance camera information. It was incredibly boring, so I'm just going to speed up the footage here. And after over a month of waiting, my request is still just assigned. It's actually been labeled assigned the whole time, and I'm not sure if it will ever move on from that. So I did something that I'm not the most proud of. The only way to really know, like, yeah, there's graffiti everywhere, and like obviously signs that like people are here.
I love how like
but the only
if you pay attention to the graffiti, we've seen so many dick pics.
way to actually
like dick drawings
to set up a camera, and I brought one with me. I bought one on Amazon. That's like a hunting camera, and it's like really good in the dark. I tested it. The footage looks kind of creepy, but like, let's put it up. The camera is motion activated, so it records 30 seconds every time someone steps in front of it. And considering we've already met someone down here, I think it will record a lot of videos actually. And you might be wondering how this is even legal to put up a private surveillance camera on public property. Well, first of all, if you've seen any of my other videos about America's insane surveillance system.
Oh, this is the same guy that did that video. Yeah, okay.
On a massive scale in literally every major city in the United States. But more importantly, in this case, where we are putting the camera up underground, this isn't even public property at all.
I believe you own everything, down to the fiery core of the earth. But under the city, it's something different. I think it's what we call terra nullius. And this is a legal doctrine. It says it belongs to nobody.
Terra nullius is an actual legal doctrine used in international law, which refers to nobody's land. So yeah, if nobody owns this place, I can definitely put a trail camera up here. Plus,
are we talking about nobody in the Homer's The Odyssey? Are we talking about nobody in the general sense?
See how many people visit this place.
Yeah, that's so hard to see.
And that's when we ran into another person. All right, so we hear somebody again. Hello. You think people come in here pretty frequently?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes there's like really big parties in here. People get lost, people get hurt, it's really drunk, call the cops and stuff. It's just not good. So. But some of the caves have less than nominal airflow.
That's actually a good point. I would not recommend coming down here. It stinks, there's garbage everywhere, and yeah, I know people say that by making a video, I'm encouraging people to explore these caves themselves, but Dr. Greg Brick has been dealing with this for 40 years.
So now you say that'll...
40 years.
I guarantee you they're going to go in there no matter what.
The most dangerous part about these caves, though, is actually what you cannot see.
There's low levels of oxygen and at times high levels of carbon monoxide.
So I bought a carbon monoxide monitor.
That is actually useful.
Apparently 0 parts per million.
So we're good.
This is a chart of what's safe for CO levels, and honestly, this monitor never went above 0 parts per million. And because this mysterious guy would not help us get to the labyrinth. Have you been to the labyrinth? Really? Graham and
you declined to comment on the labyrinth?
So we retreated. But our search for the labyrinth had just begun.
Nice.
We were only, a fraction of the way to the labyrinth. And I don't think we're gonna be able to get there. But I have an idea. A few days ago, a man named Nomark sent me a DM saying he'd want to talk sometime. What I didn't know right away is that Nomark wasn't just a man.
My name is Nomark, and for the past 6 months, I've been going out every night as a superhero, fighting crime, helping people, and raising money for charity.
Nomark was a literal superhero known for catching the campus pisser. He's like actually...
What?
Seriously, he has 500,000 followers. That's a lot more than I have. So I asked him if he knows how to get into the labyrinth. And of course he does. He's a literal superhero, so we arranged to...
Timu Batman, yep.
Yeah.
What's up?
Man.
Okay.
It's good.
All right. Oh! I forgot that. So wait, you just got a crowbar?
I do just got a crowbar.
First, Nomark took us to, well, he just took us to one of his favorite caves, which was actually really easy to get into.
Ooh. It was incredibly easy to get in.
This is another nope cave. With many nope holes. For me to go nope.
Oh shit.
This was Rubik's Cube Cave. Whoa. So people, you've seen people rafting down here?
Yeah. Yeah, someone made like a YouTube video.
I came prepped. I got beef sticks on me if anyone wants one.
Wait, how did they bring the raft in? I'm now, like, invested in this cave system.
So I finally tried one of Graham's beef sticks.
Don't spit it out.
Beef sticks are horrible, and we didn't bring a raft, so Nomark led us to another entrance he knows of that leads to the labyrinth. Oh, this manhole. I was uncomfortable. I'm pretty sure going down a manhole is illegal. Yeah, it definitely is. But I was with Nomark, a literal superhero and likely a friend of the police. Plus, if this gets us into the labyrinth, I guess it's worth it.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
Ladder's no issue.
Yeah, that is an issue.
Prove me wrong.
And that's when Nomark told me the most surprising thing he possibly could have told me.
Police don't like me.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I've been detained before.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. They don't like vigilantes.
So we quit. Game over. What are you, crazy? I'm 32 years old and I'm having a second baby. I'm not crawling down a manhole just for a stupid video. The labyrinth would remain just as elusive as when we started this journey. I mean, kind of. You'll have to watch to the end of this video to understand why. Here's what I couldn't stop thinking about. For me, trespassing is a significant deterrent to exploring these caves. But to your
Where's the remote? There we are. Trespassing is a major deterrent. Pussy!
average cave explorer, it's very much the opposite.
The harder it is to get into, the more they want to get in there just to prove that they can do it.
Because bans rarely work. And the greatest example of that in American history, Prohibition.
Yep.
I promise this is going somewhere. In 1920, a U.S. senator named Andrew Volstead, from Minnesota, by the way.
The Volstead Act.
Passed the Volstead Act, otherwise known as Prohibition. But for a certain class of enterprising criminals, it just made booze an incredibly lucrative business. The gangs used these subterranean labyrinths as a massive distribution network operating literally beneath the city. Then after that, the caves were used for a lot of stuff like mining sand to make car windshields, boat storage, and even a commercial haunted house. But then the city kicked the businesses out.
It was only after those caves were abandoned that this whole issue even arose.
Desperate to stop people from getting into the caves, the city tried 3 ways to seal the caves.
Okay.
They hired a consulting firm at a cost of several $100,000 to look into ways to block off cave entrances.
Some were, impressed me as being kind of humorous.
Proposal number 1, mercaptans. Mercaptan? Otherwise known as skunk spray. The city would just spray the walls with skunk juice.
And the odor would be so hideous that no one would want to go in there.
That didn't work because skunk smell only lasts like 2 weeks. So they tried proposal number 2, puff, polyurethane expanding foam. The plan was to fill the entrances or potentially the entire cave network with a massive wall of synthetic foam. There was just one small problem.
Now you've just, put this puff, filled it with an expanding foam that is itself flammable. Think about that one.
Oh, yeah.
And proposal number 3, bikecrete.
And then so they'll come up to an entrance and several guys will ram whole bike racks with bikes attached that people haven't claimed into the entrance, and then take, a few bags of Quickcrete and throw it on the top. And we call it Bikecrete.
As Graham and I returned 1 week after putting the trail camera up, we saw one of these Bikecrete things. Proof that the city spent a ton of money to block off this exact spot, only for someone to dig easily right around it. But I wanted to...
Oh, somebody literally dug a hole there.
Down here, and my
like somebody calls it the booty hole there.
Not really a problem. I was also just hoping my camera was still there because...
So ironically, them sealing up these holes made them create more dangerous holes.
It did cost like $150. This camera's making me nervous.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting.
I really hope it's still there. I don't have a good feeling because all that stuff's changed. Oh, here, shine the light over there. Oh my God, it's still there. Oh my God.
Nice. See, I told you, it was fine.
Yeah. All right, should we get the ladder?
Yeah.
It's completely gone. I put the ladder right there when we left last time, and now it's gone. Maybe we could get like a pole or something.
Somebody took a ladder.
Oh. All right, well, SD card in. All right, let's go take a look. I brought my laptop, which was outside in the car, so we could take a look at what the camera captured, if it captured anything. Jesus. All right, let's go look at this footage.
Okay.
Oh.
There's gonna be a lot of us setting it up. That's not us.
Yeah, that's not us.
That's also not us. I can't show you this footage, even though this camera was capturing people on nobody's land, and actually even if it was on public land, technically you're not entitled to any privacy, so technically I legally could show you this footage, but myself being a privacy advocate now, I guess I can't in good conscience show this footage as is and expose these people.
You could blur their faces and stuff.
Anyway, in just a single week, that trail camera captured teenagers, more experienced urban explorers with helmets and other stuff on, single ladies taking selfies, and a literal huge group of like 30 kids around the age of 9 or so with either their parents or guardians or teachers. Itself with the dust.
This is where they brought all the big stuff in. Like the trampolines.
All in all, this camera captured 207 people.
Wow.
And if you multiply 207 by the number of weeks in the year, 52, that's over 10,000 people that visit this cave every single year. All right, I gotta get home for bedtime. If my trail camera proved anything, it's that the
primary school trip in the case. I don't think so, because this is a little bit dangerous. I don't think any parent would sign off on a permission slip for this.
Responds to dozens of calls related to cave rescues every year.
Each rescue, St. Paul firefighters say, costs the city thousands of dollars for manpower, equipment, and to reseal a cave opening.
So sealing the caves doesn't work, and actually more than that, it's an expensive and lethal liability. But that's when I remembered something Dr. Greg Brick told me.
I think the best solution is utilization. You can do something with them, at a minimum, some kind of storage.
And that's when I remembered something else. I've been to the exact place Dr. Greg Brick is describing. I've been making documentaries for quite a while, and I've been to the world's largest underground business complex in Kansas City, Missouri, where, actually here, I'll just let young Chris tell you.
By utilizing the 160 feet of soil to make this one of the safest places in the world.
This is Subtropolis. Should I pause a little longer?
Okay, old Chris, or I guess regular Chris is back here. Yeah, this place is called Subtropolis, and they host businesses that actually value the underground more than anywhere else. They have companies that do cold food storage, a Ford assembly plant, and a huge data center. So I dug up my old contact and asked if they'd be interested in a potential new underground business space in St. Paul. but they're just too busy right now. So I'm gonna become a commercial real estate developer to develop this abandoned cave and taking on the burden of managing the most terrifying real estate in the state of Minnesota. And I think I know how I'm gonna do it. Most of the space directly on top of the cave system that Graham and I were in is mostly just like airport parking, except for one vacant lot. So after a quick search on the Ramsey County website, it is city-owned vacant land that they value at just $9,900.
Oh, damn!
That's, I mean, NordVPN did give me like a little bit of money, but not that much. So I gave the city a call to see if I could maybe talk them down.
Thank you for calling the City of St. Paul Department of Planning and
And that's when I experienced the most tangled web of on-holds and call transfers I've ever experienced.
Oh, God.
I did find out that the city did have plans for that lot, so it was unavailable. So they passed me to the city's sewer officer to inquire about the underground space. Who does own it?
I'm not sure who owns it.
That's because nobody owns it. So I went back down to the entrance and put a stake in the ground to declare my development intentions. You're probably wondering what businesses I'm going to put down here. Because this cave system has pretty substantial foot traffic at 10,000 annual visitors, many of them being 9-year-old children, I plan to put the world's first cave-themed ice cream shop. So I bought the domain and had my brother Kyle, who is an executive producer, make me a commercial real estate website. Can you screen share?
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You know, we didn't use Squarespace, but Squarespace says a website makes it real.
Okay.
The project is called The Hollows. Try to keep that language, you know, it is a mixed-use development, basically like an ice cream shop.
Okay.
It's just a great destination.
This is.
But how would you run power?
Oh. So how much money do I owe you for making this?
You know, if it's a real estate developer, I don't know, you might pay like...
I'm not going to pay Kyle because I am a commercial real estate developer now. Plus, he's my older brother and he'll love me no matter what. Now that we have all we need, I scheduled a pre-application consultation with St. Paul's zoning team and issued press releases to all major media entities in the Twin Cities. So if you're a commercial real estate investor with money to invest into the future of commercial real estate, I don't want your money. Just subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go home now.
Okay, that was interesting. So, what's this? We need help in identifying... Oh no. The original oh god. This is gonna get people in trouble because you should not be using AI enhancement. Like, let's look at the photos here. Even the position of the face looks like it's slightly off. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't look right. This is gonna get people in trouble. We talked about that already. Alright, let's talk about this new technology that changes aviation.
Could a new anti-collision system have stopped the tragic mid-air collision which happened over Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport back in 2025? Now, I want to make this absolutely clear from the start. The lack of this system was by no means the main factor behind this tragedy. But even so, there is a really good reason why the NTSB decided to highlight ACAS-X in their investigation.
So, I actually worked at a private aviation, as I've talked about before. So I know a little bit about stuff like this. And yeah, there was a discussion around systems like this. I think they implemented that. I could be mistaken, but yeah.
I know the vast majority of you are familiar with this story, and I covered it over on the Mentor Pilot channel just a few weeks ago, so I'm only going to give you the highlights here. What I'm talking about is the mid-air collision on the 29th of January 2020.
Have you heard Oliver Tree died in a helicopter crash recently? Yeah, I heard about that. It's very unfortunate, but To quote Oliver Tree, life goes on and on and on and on.
CRJ 700, PSA Airlines Flight 5342, which was operated...
No, but it seriously is unfortunate, and my thoughts go out to his family.
...by its call sign PAT 25. The crew in the CRJ 700 had initially been on approach towards runway 01 in Washington National before agreeing to switch over to runway 33 after the air traffic controller's request. The airport was really busy at that time, and in those kind of circumstances, those types of requests were quite common at that airport.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the crew in the Army helicopter were conducting a training flight which would take them past Washington National Airport via a helicopter route known as Route 4. And that meant that they would fly just under the approach path for aircraft landing on runway 33. Helicopters on Route 4 would need to fly at a maximum altitude of 200 feet, which would put them only about 75 feet below the glide path of any aircraft flying into runway 33. And that margin was only there if the helicopter kept over the eastern shoreline of the Potomac River. Any further out, including at the center of Route 4, that 75-foot clearance would get even smaller.
Yeah.
Now, that's obviously way too close on paper.
Right.
In practice, it was even worse because helicopter Route 4 didn't have any defined limits laterally.
75 feet is not that much room when you're talking about airlines. When you're talking about planes and aviation in general, it's nothing.
So a helicopter flying north or south along this route could drift substantially left or right and still technically be on the route, even if that meant that it was in the middle of an aircraft glide path.
Yep.
And that was before any vertical deviations from the helicopter was taken into account. Now, to put all of this into perspective, in the airline world, instrument flights use a minimum vertical separation of 1,000 feet per aircraft. And that can be reduced to 500 feet if visual flights are involved. But here at Washington National Airport, this helicopter route had still been approved. Obviously, though, crossings with such a small margin were not allowed. And that had led controllers at DCA to have to either place helicopters into holding patterns when there was traffic on final to runway 33, or ask them to keep visual separation from that traffic.
Okay.
Pass behind. Still, this situation had led to thousands of close calls over several years before this accident happened. And to make matters...
So if you had thousands of close calls, you would think that they would have actually looked into this and said, we're going to eventually say one of these is not close and we're going to have to call it. And that's what happened.
Even worse, there were also conflicts between helicopters and aircraft landing on runway 01 and runway 19. Now, there is obviously a lot more to all of this, involving the pilots, the air traffic controllers, those helicopter routes, and the way Washington National Airport has been operated over the years. And I'm explaining all of that in my very detailed video of this accident over on the Mentor Pilot channel, which I really hope that you'll check out. But something that I mentioned only briefly in that video was the role that systems like ADS-B In and ACAS X...
Gonna shave my beard, but can't find a shaving gear.
I didn't explore that.
I use the electric razors.
Again, other factors mattered more, and it was already an hour.
People don't even remember DJ AM.
But still,
don't know who that is.
Was, or could have been, one of the many slices in the Swiss cheese that could have stopped this horrible accident from ever happening. It is actually a technology that has the potential to be the last line of defense in a lot of aircraft. Actually, a technology that has stopped this horrible accident from ever happening.
I missed the...
It is actually a technology that has the potential to be the last line of defense in a lot of aircraft traffic conflicts, which is why I want to look closer at it today. And to understand it, we need to look at how technologies like GPS and ADS-B became part of aviation in the first place. Today, GPS is the most popular type of Global Navigation Satellite System, or GNSS. And in aviation, it is often our primary...
Yeah, we got the Baidu, we got GPS, there's GLONASS, I think there's a couple others.
...of navigation. But it is easy to forget just how new it actually is. GPS didn't gain popularity in commercial aviation until the late 1990s or so.
Yeah, it's crazy to think it...
...to become the norm, as all aircraft were either retrofitted with GPS receivers or retired. Now, some of you might think that I'm going a little bit too far back here, but the point that I want to make is that it took us a really long time to figure out how to take full advantage of GPS, and what I'm about to explain.
And we're still improving on like GPS and radar technologies, which is really impressive.
Today shows that we still haven't really gotten there. But after using GPS to help aircraft navigate safely, someone thought that if we could get those same aircraft to also transmit their GPS coordinates down to the ground, well, then we could probably make it a lot easier for air traffic controllers to do their job, especially at smaller airports where expensive radar installations aren't available.
And that's where ADS-B and UAT come into play.
We only track the aircraft by using either primary or secondary radar, where primary radar is the normal kind of radar that you probably know of, where a radio signal bounces off the aircraft and then returns to the ground, allowing its direction and distance to be measured. Secondary radar works similarly, but it also gets information from the aircraft's transponders. And those are devices that, on top of location, also transmits details like its altitude, the aircraft type, airline, flight number, and so on. Now, secondary radar is a good system, but it still requires expensive ground stations with radar installations, and that's where GPS and ADS-B comes in. ADS-B stands for Automatic Dependent Surveillance Broadcast, and its use is divided into two sections, ADS-B out and ADS-B in.
Yep, and we have ADS-B SDRs that we're going to be using in a future project with, I'm going to make a, one of my mini PCs, I think, end up be a radio box for reticulum mesh-tastic, maybe mesh core, but it'll also do ADS-B, UAT, and yeah.
ADS-B out refers...
Have you thought about getting an airplane license? Yes, I have. It's on my to-do, but it won't be for a few years.
ADS-B signal that comes out of the aircraft, where ADS-B in refers to signals coming in.
I was in ground school at my last job. It was one of the perks.
Controllers see aircraft without having access to a radar. They needed aircraft to be equipped with ADS-B out, which is why this was the first version of ADS-B to be prioritized for adoption by aviation authorities around the world. For example, in the United States, aircraft operating in airspace where a transponder is required have been required to have ADS-B out capability since 2020.
Yep. And what is it? I think you need all jets above, what is it, 10,000 or so feet, I think it is, must, or all planes or that, must have a ADS-B. Otherwise, you can use UAT, which is 978 megahertz versus 1090 megahertz. But ADS-B is the more common system, because you can use ADS-B for those lower altitude calculations, whereas UAT only can do up to that high, but yeah.
Other countries adopted ADS-B even earlier, and in practice, commercial aircraft comfortably beat that deadline, but even so, ADS-B out is still relatively new, especially in an industry where systems normally take decades to develop. Now, ADS-B is also how Flight Radar 24 and other similar websites work, thanks to hundreds or even thousands of people who run ADS-B receivers on the ground.
I'll be making one of those and we'll be talking about it.
Like that can just be installed by anyone and then work flawlessly. Now, I've run a company myself, and I've often thought that I wish my company's software could work like that, until I was told about today's sponsor, Odoo, that is. You see, Odoo is an all-in-one...
Okay, we're skipping that.
ADS-B in simply refers to ADS-B signals from other sources, which are then received by the aircraft. And these other sources aren't just aircraft, by the way. A lot of smaller general aviation and other newer aircraft already have ADS-B in various forms, because it can do things like receive weather information, overlaid on the plane's own position on a map in real time, for example, which is a really big deal for small planes that don't have their own weather radars. Now, if that system isn't available as an avionics package in the aircraft, well, then ADS-B in can also be implemented by using a portable receiver, which can feed information into an electronic flight bag, or EFB, meaning an iPad or other tablets using apps. That, by the way, is something that quite a few military pilots also do, and it appears that the 2 helicopter pilots that were involved in the mid-air collision that I just talked about might have had iPads for this purpose, but that was never 100% established. Either way, whether this system is implemented in the aircraft's avionics or in an EFB, it can be used to give pilots better situational awareness, both in terms of where they are and for traffic deconfliction, because this will also show pilots other aircraft around them.
Traffic, 10 o'clock, 4 miles, 1,000 feet below.
And that finally gets us to how ADS-B can be used to improve and augment another system that airliners already use, which is TCAS.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, all aircraft have transponders, which are essentially specialized radios that transmit important information about the aircraft to radar stations on the ground.
Right.
But another important function of modern aircraft transponders is that they can allow aircraft to see each other as well. And that led to the development of TCAS, which stands for Traffic Collision Avoidance System. Now, TCAS uses information from the transponders and then communicates with transponders on other aircraft automatically, and then they interrogate each other to work out if they are getting too close to each other. As they do this, the TCAS system displays the position of other relevant traffic on the aircraft's navigation display or other specific displays, and if the system determines that the planes are indeed getting too close, well then they will issue the first out of 2 available warnings or advisories.
Right.
The first one is a traffic advisory, and it comes when the TCAS system determines that a collision is possible within the next 40 to 45 seconds. That will be heard in the cockpit as a loud oral message, and simultaneously the TCAS display will change the symbol of the other aircraft into a yellow ring to further highlight it.
Okay.
Now, that first message doesn't mean that the pilots immediately need to take action. It simply alerts them to the potential conflict and gives them time to look outside for it and consider other actions like informing air traffic control, for example. But the traffic advisory also prepares the pilots for the second step.
Okay.
TCAS resolution advisory, or RA, which will be triggered if a collision is sensed to be around 25 seconds away. In that scenario, the 2 TCAS systems in the involved aircraft will start issuing actual commands to the pilots and will automatically coordinate these so that the crew in one aircraft will be instructed to climb, whilst the other might be told to descend.
Interesting.
At the same time, the symbol for the other aircraft in the navigation display will turn red, and the symbology in the TCAS display will change to tell the pilots how to.
But it's just advisory. It doesn't actually force any change.
Are designed to be as hard to ignore as possible, but they also have their limitations. In both cases,
do a barrel roll
or a resolution advisory, the system isn't actually telling the pilots where the other traffic is. There will be a symbol appearing on the navigation display, but it doesn't come with exact information, like for example, which direction the aircraft is moving. So in practice, in order to figure that out, the pilots will need to keep looking at the symbol on their display and see how it's moving. But remember, this is an aircraft that might be getting closer and closer, so at this point, most pilots would prefer to be looking outside to try and spot this traffic visually instead of being heads down on the screen. And this is where ADS-B in systems, and especially the new ACAS X system, is just superior.
Okay.
You see, ADS-B in has much more precision, both in terms of the position of the other aircraft and by containing much more information about what aircraft we're dealing with and what it is doing. ACAS X merges the information from the transponder and ADS-B in, greatly improving the function of TCAS. And thanks to that extra ADS-B accuracy, ACAS X can give us both traffic advisories and resolution advisories earlier when needed. That in itself is a very welcome improvement, but ACAS X also goes much further than that. On the cockpit displays, the traffic information from ACAS X now includes the aircraft type as well as a directional symbol, basically an arrow to tell us how the other aircraft is moving. And we will also be able to see things like the other aircraft's vertical speed, which could show us, for example, if the crew in the other aircraft is reacting to a traffic advisory before it escalates into an RA. And not to mention that
that's good to know.
We'll be able to filter out traffic that the old TCAS system would have seen as a threat, but in reality, due to its trajectory, really wouldn't be.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And it gets even better. If you think about it, with the current TCAS, there is a pretty big step between a traffic advisory and a resolution advisory. As I already said, when we get a traffic advisory, all we're supposed to do is to look for the other traffic, talk to each other and to air traffic control, and get ready for what to do next. Then, if it escalates into a resolution advisory, we have to react immediately and follow closely what the system tells us. Now with ACAS X, we still have this binary set of TAs and RAs, but here TA is becoming much more helpful, and not only because of that extra information on our navigation display. The even bigger change with an ACAS TA is the oral warning, where instead of just a traffic warning, the warning might sound more like something like this. Traffic, 2 o'clock, 3 miles, 300 feet above, descending. And that's a big deal, because it means that when we get a TA, we won't need to look inside to try and decode a vague traffic call. Instead, we pilots could immediately just look outside in the correct direction, and based on the distance and relative altitude, we then have a reasonably good idea.
Yeah, that would actually make a lot more sense.
That's a huge difference from the current system. And this difference becomes even bigger if you consider what happens when we're dealing with an imminent traffic conflict at low altitude. Just like the pilots in the CRJ did at the Washington National disaster. You see, one big limitation of the current TCAS system is that resolution advisories are inhibited at low altitudes, typically below 900 feet above ground level when the aircraft is in a descent, or 1,100 feet AGL when we're climbing.
Okay.
Now that is done in order to reduce nuisance warnings, and more importantly, because we really don't want an aircraft to get a descend RA when it's already very close to the terrain. But this limitation also means that in a case like the DCA disaster, even a simple TCAS traffic advisory could be seen as a nuisance call. But an ACAS XTA would sound very different. And in their investigation, the NTSB tested and simulated what this would have meant for the CRJ crew. And what they found was that if they would have had ACAS X, they would have received 2 separate traffic advisories. The first, 59 seconds before the collision, and it would have sounded something like this. Traffic, 12 o'clock, low, 3 miles, descending.
Yeah, I can see how that would have made a huge difference.
Received the second warning. Traffic, 12 o'clock, low, 2 miles. But now, what they instead got from the old TCAS system was just a single TA, 19 seconds before the collision, which only said traffic, and nothing else. You see the difference?
That is a huge world of difference.
CRJ crew, because the US Army helicopter didn't have TCAS at all. But the helicopter pilots might have had iPad minis strapped to their kneeboards with the 4Flight app running and connected to a Stratus ADS-B receiver, giving them ADS-B in capability for better situational awareness. And that actually could have given them a TA 48 seconds before the collision, sounding something like this. Traffic, 10 o'clock. 2 nautical miles, 500 feet above. But if they actually had the system set up like this, which other Army pilots have now told me they likely didn't, since the iPad screens were annoying when flying.
I can see that would be annoying.
Well then, that TA would have only sounded out of the iPad speakers, which would obviously have been impossible to hear in the noisy helicopter cockpit.
Yeah.
Again, TCAS and the lack of ACAS X was far from the biggest factor in this tragedy. And on top of everything
unless you attach the iPad to like do a Bluetooth headset or something, I don't know.
Transmitting ADS-B out at the time.
I don't know enough about their systems.
Case, this still begs the question. If ACAS X is such a big improvement, which it clearly is, then why don't we have it already on commercial aircraft? Well, as I mentioned in my Mentor Pilot video, there is sadly some bureaucracy involved here.
There always is.
For fixed-wing aircraft was
always bureaucracy. It's getting in the way. It's always the red tape.
The Aviation Authority didn't approve it until 2025. And of course, aircraft makers therefore didn't want to build aircraft with a system that wouldn't be certified for use.
So we won't see it until the 2030s.
That's the whole story. As the NTSB report also explains, Boeing and Airbus now do offer ADS-B in on at least some of their aircraft models. American Airlines has equipped 300 of their Airbus A321s with the ADS-B in, and they have been testing it for over 2 years now, with their pilots being really enthusiastic about it. But sadly, it's still not that surprising that the industry is slow to adapt new technology.
Yeah. You have to understand, aviation moves so slow in technology. Remember, I used to work for a private aviation company, and I told you all how one of our big achievements was moving away from Windows 95 in the hangar computers to Windows XP. That was a huge win. That's how far behind they are. They are still using laptops that old to be able to flash software into the systems. Because these planes, they generally have, what is it, a 15-year service life?
Changes always come slowly in the aviation industry, and that's not just because of costs. Now, like I already said, ADS-B out wasn't mandated until 2020. So even if EASA and the FAA had agreed on AKS-X back in 2018, chances are that the date when they would actually require the use of this system would come many years later. And that would be to give time for airlines to retrofit the system onto older aircraft, like the 20-year-old CRJ700 that was involved in the DCA accident. Now, that retrofit would likely include things like higher resolution displays in order to make additional information easier to read, and the industry would also need to carefully study how new threats like GPS jamming and spoofing will affect ACAS-X. But one way or another,
yeah, GPS spamming and spoofing is a big issue in some war zones.
We already have the hardware, so now we just need it to become mandatory. But what do you think? Did you know about this system and how much better it is? And are there other technologies out there that you would like to see in modern aircraft? Let me know in the comments here below, and remember that you can support the work that we do here by scanning this QR code with your phone or by going to patreon.com.
Okay, so let's at least watch this video here. Snazzy Labs, I bought the Trump phone. Oh, this piece of shit. Let's see what we got. That might be the final video for the night.
This is printer paper, and look at the toner! Proudly assembled in the USA. Are you sure? I think the fingerprint sensor is broken from the factory. 10, 30, 50, 100. I put $100 down on the Trump Mobile T1 almost a year ago.
Isn't this basically just a rebadged HTC U24, somebody was telling me?
Because I wanted it. I mean, I wanted to make the video that I figured I'd get to make. The one in which a $500 made-in-USA smartphone turned out to be nothing more than, well, a scam held together with patriotism and golden paint. Basically, I paid for the memes because my wallet fell. Because everybody with even a passing understanding of electronics and the global supply chain knew the problem on day one. You can't make a smartphone on US soil at any price in 2026.
Right.
And at $500.
We've discussed this heavily and how electronics are too expensive to be made in the USA and that we don't have a lot of the expertise required as well.
You likely couldn't even assemble one here with globally sourced components. And that was really the tell. The phone, it was never the point.
Yeah, we actually talked about this, and I gave an example. There was a phone that I actually bought a while ago. I don't recommend buying this phone. It was an interesting concept. It's the Librem phone, okay? So I have the Librem 5, okay? So the Librem 5 is essentially a full-on Linux phone, and, 5.7 inch, 3 gigabytes of RAM, yada, yada, yada. So they had two versions of this phone. They had the Librem phone, and they have what they call the Liberty phone. So the Liberty phone, the big difference is it's made in the USA. Now, technically, it also has 1 gigabyte more of RAM, which in my testing actually made a little bit of a difference, and it has 4 times the amount of eMMC space, okay? But even then, so it's $2,000 for this same phone that, hold on. So it's $800 for the Chinese-made version, okay? And then if you get the, it's like $1,200 more for the same device, same CPU and everything, just 1 GB more of memory, and 4 times the storage. And this is before Ramageddon. So, yeah, this is real, that it is a fact that it is next to impossible to make a cost-effective phone on US soil. And this phone is basically a prime example of that. I don't know of any others that I can actually do an apples to apples comparison, but you can't make a phone on US soil that's cost effective. And that's why everyone that knew basics was like, the Trump phone is a scam. It's bullshit. It's a con.
Mobile brand was. After a year of changing renders and specs and ship dates and being shady to the press, the phone I was sure would never arrive just showed up at my door. It seems that I'm one of the very first paying customers on Earth to have the Trump T1 in hand, which has nothing to do with luck, nor being one of the elite invited to stand up on stage holding a binder full of blank paper like a soy boy beta. This is about trying really, really hard every single day to convince a company to please, for the love of all that is good and holy, take my money. And like all great American sagas, well, it begins at the bottom of a Gmail spam folder. You see, Trump Mobile posted on X that orders were going out a couple of weeks ago. My order was 421, so I figured I'd be pretty near the front of the line, and I started checking my inbox daily.
I'd be surprised, what did they say? There's only tens of thousands of people that actually had this. I think there was 30,000 customers or something like that. There wasn't a lot. There was enough that you're I can't believe that there are people that bought this, but there wasn't a lot of people that actually bought this in the grand scheme.
Nothing. So I finally dug into the spam folder, even though I'd marked everything from Trump Mobile to come in as priority, and, well, there it was from the day before. An invite telling me that my T1 was...
Probably because of the domain that they have there, and they probably have some shitty IT, so that's why it probably got dumped in spam. Because it probably doesn't have a DMARC, SPF, DKIM, whatever, appropriately set up.
Ready, and that I owed the remaining balance. Now, before any MAGA numbnuts fire up the Gmail censors conservatives cannon, this is an own goal of historic stupidity. The first email had its DMARC records configured incorrectly. That's the setting that proves an email came from where it...
I called it! Did I not call it, chat? I called it! I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to test this without, doing that. And it's yep. Do you know how much you must suck to get a DMARC fail? This is basic IT, email management 101, SPF and DMARC. You'll set that up no matter what system you get. DKIM, okay, that's an additional enhancement that you should be doing, but the fact that you got it to pass SPF, pass DKIM, which is the additional stuff, when DMARC and SPF are the bare minimum today and it failed, tells me you done fucked up, AA, Ron.
Claims to come from, something they teach you on baby's first day of IT admin. I think they figured this out because a few days later,
I literally just said that, didn't I? It's basically IT admin stuff.
Corrected follow-up arrived, but it still landed in spam. Why? Well, because it authenticated against info.americafirst-patriots.com instead of trumpmobile.com.
So they probably had a bunch of domains, and then when they set up their emailer, they didn't do consistency. This is why I always tell people, when you're doing your business brand online, you need to figure out your branding consistently. So, if you look at, chiefgeek3d.com, I have that subdomained to Kingdom Come for just about everything. If you are ignorant of technology, you will not know how to subdomain your shit. They literally basically are doing this is the most rudimentary basic IT 101 shit that they're failing at. Maybe this is why we should let friends run their own email server. No.
It went out.
Friends don't let friends run their own email server.
Phishing. It screamed at you to pay now, a hallmark of phishing, and ran every link through a tracking redirect, a hallmark of phishing. Gmail just did exactly what it was designed.
Wait, hold up. Say it again.
bulkblastinfantry.com instead of trumpmobile.com.
Right.
Phishing. It went out over bulk blast infrastructure.
That goes into what I was saying about branding. So, yeah, you need to have consistency with your branding. It's okay for, you to like set up, because you can use your own email, and for some reason, a lot of people don't realize this, you can subdomain your email. So let's say you have acme.com as your main domain, and then for some reason you have to have MailChimp go out, and it can't go out through the main system because it's tied to Office 365. I'm just giving you some weird nuance, whatever shit happens. I'm not saying this is an actual situation, but let's say for the sake of that argument, that is a situation. You could then do a subdomain to email from survey.acme.com, and it would still be its own domain and criteria and everything inside of that, but it would all be under the same brand. It would just be a subdomain of it. You see what I'm saying?
A hallmark of phishing. It screamed at you to pay now, a hallmark of phishing.
Yep.
And ran every link through a tracking redirect, a hallmark of phishing. Gmail just did exactly what it was designed to do. Put the most likely trash in the trash.
Yep, that is, and that is true, because it's looking at patterns, it's using an AI analysis and language and stuff like that, and if you actually pay attention to a lot of the boomer advertising, think about it. A lot of their advertising centered around the things that we now teach people are indicators of, scams or cons, pressuring you. Like, think about, like, the old TV ads with, like, Billy Mays and all of that, and they're, like, trying to force a sense of urgency that, like, this is a limited time offer to go get it, and things like that, and you need to buy now, That's how boomers were raised, pretty much. And they're doing the same exact thing. And because those same tactics that boomers were used to advertise to are the same tactics that are often used in phishing, one would definitely think it's a scam, and that makes total sense.
But I found it, so I clicked through, and I can't log in. And I know my credentials are right because I use a password manager, but figuring maybe they rehashed everything after the
no
password, I create a new one.
I forgot about that. Leak.
Successfully, but then I meet the login flow, surely built by the lowest bidder 11 time zones away, username and password, then there's a consent box, and then a two-factor field below it, and the code that it is alleged to have emailed me, yeah, it's not. It's not in my spam, it's not in my inbox, it's not in all mail, it does not exist.
And this is also why I tell people, email authentication systems are bullshit. Don't use them.
So, I wait, thinking...
Simple login number one. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I take a shower, I figure it'll be there when I get out, but 10 minutes later, yeah, it's still no email. So I try again, I request a new one, and again, the void. The two-factor code that Trump Mobile swears it sent me simply does not and will never exist. Which I guess leaves me one option, the one thing that no human being wants to do in 2026.
Hi, this is Alexandria with Trump Mobile. How can I help you today?
Hi, Alexandria. I am having trouble logging into my account. The two-factor passcode is not being delivered to my email address.
Oh, it seems your account is showing as inactive. What's your Trump Mobile phone number?
I don't have one. I just pre-ordered the phone like a year ago, and I'm hoping to make payment so that I can begin service.
Oh, so you don't have a 47 plan?
No.
We'll need to activate a phone number on your account so you can log into the dashboard.
What? What kind of fucking stupid system is this?
I'll need to take payment for the first month now at $47.45, plus tax brings your total to $52.37. I'm ready for your card number whenever you are.
Okay, so
$47.45 for a monthly plan. I mean, yes, that's slightly less than my Google Fi, but my Google Fi is giving me a lot more.
To pay for my phone, I need to get into my dashboard, but to get into my dashboard, I have to pay for a plan over the phone. Luckily,
all right.
Doesn't
You paid, so you had to pay for the phone number over the phone with your credit card because you can't log into your Trump mobile account because you don't have a Trump phone number. Wow! This is effed.
The SIM is inserted into the new phone, which is good, so I just pay once. But can I just say, $52 for this plan is a ripoff. I mean, I pay $39.
Holy shit! Hold up. Let me see. Trump 47 plan. Hold on. Trump Mobile 47 plan. Ew. Okay, so you get that, and where is... You get roadside assistance, telehealth coverage, international calling, unlimited data first at 20 gigabytes, so you get less than what I have now. Hold on, let me see. Where? Oh well. But yeah. I was trying to see it myself. Priority data. Okay, so there's no priority data. 480p video. No hotspot.
$9 to US Mobile for truly unlimited, uncapped high-speed data, higher network priority, and free international data as opposed to just calling. Then again, I don't get the included telehealth like I do on Trump Mobile, which uses...
Oh, this telehealth shit. Yeah, did you hear about that? Like, this is just such bullshit. It was so targeted at boomers.
...camera to somehow show you your blood pressure. Yeah, that...
Your camera shows you your blood pressure.
That sounds legit, but there's more.
Okay, Mr. Nelson, I need to reset the password to your dashboard. Is there one you'd like to use?
Like, you just want me to tell you a password on the phone?
Did my brain just break and did I hear that right?
Sounds legit, but there's more.
Okay, Mr. Nelson, I need to reset the password to your dashboard. Is there one you'd like to use?
Like, you just want me to tell you a password on the phone?
You not only have to call in to give your credit card to activate the number because you can't log into your Trump mobile dashboard to activate your plan because you don't have a Trump mobile phone number. And now we're at the other part where we have to give our password to a person. That's already two things you're not supposed to ever do on a call. Okay? You shouldn't have to give your credit card on a phone call at all these days. That there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just not needed. Okay? That's already a flat red flag there. Now you're also handing your password over for the account. Wow!
Yes, sir.
Okay. How about 4258 capital L pound?
It requires 8 to 12 characters, one symbol, and it must start with a capital letter.
So you're gonna tell your password to a random person who's gonna type it in. Wow. Your friend overheard a coworker give a social security number on the phone. Yeah, that'll happen.
Okay. Capital L, I guess. OP 4258 pound.
Sorry, pound isn't an accepted symbol.
If you had a proper online system that, you know, we've been doing for the past, like, I don't know, 2 fucking decades!
All right, percent is fine.
That isn't either.
Oh, for fuck's sake, you can't even use any of the special characters.
How about an exclamation point?
Sure.
Yeah, well, that worked, but no password reset prompt was shown to me upon login. So somewhere out there...
Oh, no. Oh, no. So you can't reset your password. You have to call a person to... Wow! Like, this is not... Like, this is not... Like, this is, like... The... You know when MAGA tells us that they have really bright people in technology that agree with them? Yeah, that ain't fucking true. You're telling me, out of the millions of dollars that you have to throw at this shit, you couldn't have found 2 freaking IT people to rub one brain cell together to have the basics of security and a basic user experience that we expect from a retail outlet in 2026. No. 2006. Okay? Wow. Yeah, Trump, I love the dumb ones. Definitely he does. And this is why I say, like, in the MAGA network, there really aren't as well-informed people as they like you to believe. Because of shit like this. And to cement my point, I mean, I've been to a bunch of cybersecurity conferences, okay? And IT conferences over the years. The sentiment towards Trump and MAGA ain't very good at these meetings. Like, yeah. So continue.
A nice lady named Alexandria still has my account password. In any case, I reached the nondescript dashboard, which is most likely a hand-me-down backend from Liberty Mobile, which is the MVNO that Trump Mobile rides on, and I find device purchase history, where I can finally make the remainder of my payment on this motherfriggin' phone. I enter my card number, I agree to payment terms, but I do not click the marketing opt-in to which, quote, consent is not a condition of any purchase, end quote. And yet, it totally is.
Oh my fucking God.
By the phone. I don't even care anymore. They leaked all my data out to the internet, whatever. I clicked the button and, oh, well, look at that. Text message from Chase flagging a transaction.
When even Chase starts getting in, being like, bro, this Trump phone is a scam. You should, there's your sign.
From TMI hardware as potentially fraudulent. My bank does this like once every 2 years, and transactions of this price are not uncommon. So
the only time I've regularly had fraud alerts like this is anytime I've ordered my Prusa 3D printers. And that's purely because it's an international large value purchase. And I know it happens every time. I go to order it. It gets marked as fraud. I flag it safe. I make a call in. Then we get it whitelisted for that day. Make the purchase. But that's like, expensive 3D printer equipment. I think the only other time that happened was when I was in Vegas. And I was buying a shit ton of things at DEF CON. That was it from the vendor section.
Clearly, they have had issues with TMI hardware before. In any case, yes, it's me, and it clears. Then silence. Except, not really, because complete your order emails keep arriving for an order that I have completed, and an order for which I was charged. Hello?
Hi, this is Christian, the sales director at Trump Mobile. Is this Quinn? I'm just calling to see if any customers would like to complete their pre-orders for the T1 smartphone.
Hi, Christian. Yeah, I bought the phone like a week and a half ago.
Let me log into your account here. Oh, great news. It seems like it shipped out a couple days ago, and it's out for delivery today, so it should be in your hands very soon. Did you not get a tracking number?
No, I haven't gotten almost any communication at all from Trump Mobile.
Jesus!
Even that landed in my spam box.
Shoot. Yeah, I've heard that's been happening a lot, but in any case, I hope you enjoy the phone. We've been really receptive to feedback here and would love to hear any thoughts you have. This is my phone number, so reach out with any questions or thoughts you have, and yeah, hope you enjoy it.
Say what you will about this disaster of a service, but every support representative I've spoken to at the company has been lovely. I cannot wait to open this because this is already amateur hour. I tore part of the label off because I thought this was from eBay because, well, it was dropped off at a UPS store in person by hand, which nobody's doing if they're doing volume. And then also the label is cut out.
Oh, jeez.
Of paper that they printed on like an inkjet printer.
Like, I did that shit when I was on Etsy, and eventually even I bought a label printer. Like, that is bad. So they really aren't doing volume if they're willing to do that.
It gets even better because they told me that they were going to ship a SIM card with the package, but look at this. I received a handwritten letter, hand-addressed envelope.
What?
Thought was a
What? What is this?
Handwritten letter, hand-addressed envelope that I thought was a birthday card. Because, like, what else would it be? Nope. It's my Trump Mobile SIM card. This is the 47 plan. Oh, beautiful. 5G network. Welcome. I've got my whole guy. Oh, that's quite advanced. Look at that. That's
Jesus.
And there's my SIM card. That's completely white, unlabeled, nondescript.
Holy shit, you literally just bought the SIM card and didn't even do any branding on it. Like, bruh. Like, this is what we do in the hacker community because we're cloning shit and all that, and we don't care about that. But this is unprofessional as hell. You're a cell phone company.
Nothing much to it. Okay, well, I've got my SIM, and now I guess we just have to open the phone itself. So, we'll crack open.
But why 47? Is Trump counting the number of section? Because he is the 45th and 47th president.
In this box, like I mentioned, I started to open it because I was like, well, I don't know what this is, and then only to realize, wait, that's the Trump phone. Okay. Protective case inside lid. T1 quick start guide. This is printer paper. This is printer paper, and look at the toner.
Oh god, the toner's wearing out. Like, look at this. You could see, like, the toner's starting to fade. Like, they literally used the regular office printer and just did this.
They're running out of toner. This was literally printed on a...
You can see the flag is, like, getting distorted there. Yeah.
Jet printer. Look how pixelated the flag is over here.
Mm-hmm.
Ran out of ink near the end. T1 quick start guide. And here's my packing slip. Was this typed out on Microsoft Word?
Yeah. That was. That was not done through an automated system. Wow.
What is this? Oh my gosh. This is great. And there's another SIM card.
Wait, there's another SIM card?
Why'd I get two? And here's the box.
Holy, wow, they are so discombobulated. So not only did they not, so far we're into this video. Not only did they not tell him when the phone was being shipped, then tried to call them to say, hey, would you, want to buy the phone? It's like, I already bought the phone. It's on the way. Oh, yeah, we got that. But then also, we couldn't have access to the account because he couldn't get access to a Trump mobile phone number. And then you had to give the password to the rep. There's no way to reset that. And then they send a SIM card in the mail on regular letter on top of the SIM card that's included already in the box.
Trump Mobile, it's incredibly nondescript. We've got T1.
The Trump Mobile site got hacked. It wasn't hacked. It was just, it had too much information revealed. It wasn't even secured. It was just, yeah.
On the bottom. On the back, we've got the American flag with not enough stripes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Holy shit!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 stripes. The original 11 colonies. Do we have 50 stars? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, so there's 50 stars. Oh, you know what? I think that this is negative space, and then the Trump Mobile word mark is supposed to be the 13th stripe. It looks stupid because it's much higher width than the rest of the stripes. But I think that's what they're going for. Proudly assembled.
I don't know. I don't see that.
Are you sure?
I feel like Trump Mobile leaked data because it was vibe coded. Well, that, on top of the fact that we've already discovered, they've done a lot of basic IT 101 F-ups. Like, there were so many different issues going into this from the IT infrastructure side. The domain that the emails were sending from was completely different than, the domain that that's actually registered under. The DMARC failed, apparently, which is why it all fell into spam. Like, there's a whole lot, yeah.
What does assembly mean? We put it in the box with the micro USB cable? So they added a stick, they printed these out on paper, and then they're like, well, we use like 2 cents.
Assembly could mean as simple, if I recall, that they just buy the phones and then flash the firmware on there, and that can count as assembly in the US.
We can't reprint this. So they added a little sticker that says protective case inside lid. And sure enough, here it is. Wait. I thought the T1 logo was going to be on the case. No, it's on the bag. And okay, a nice clear case that will surely never yellow. And here it is. Wow, it is ugly. And look at that.
It is ugly and gaudy.
A little fingerprint on there. That is a little fingerprint. See that next to the second camera lens?
Oh, yeah. There is.
I wonder if it's from the little kid that had to assemble this in the USA. Okay, so the color is just not consistent anywhere. This could maybe kind of be gold, though it is pretty yellow. But the plastic surrounding the camera rings and this little thing, like, it's just straight up. No, those are even different. So you've got legitimate yellow around the camera lenses. You've got like kind of bronzy yellow in this plastic surround ring. The back casing is like this reflective yellow, and then this anodized aluminum is just straight up not gold. No, it's not even really yellow. It's like orangey. It's ugly. Like this is
really gaudy.
And
it looks like a kind of phone that MC Hammer would have bought.
Trump, that famously said, no matter how hard you try.
This feels like a scam made by a 13-year-old. Oh, yeah, definitely does.
That's made that will look like gold. Steve will tell you that.
If you're going to do this at all, why not just go all out? I mean, I've got some gold-plated golf balls right here. They were $50 on Amazon, which is pretty outrageous, like 13 bucks a piece. And I don't think they're Pro V1Xs. So I think most of the cost is in the gold. But these are legitimately gold-plated, and the surface area of these balls is way higher than what this phone would be. And, 50 bucks. So if you're paying $500 for this phone, why not just make it legitimately gold? At least that would be kind of
cool.
Because do these things look similar to you?
No, they do not.
No, they don't.
It looks like fool's gold. It looks like cheap, tacky gold. It looks like that gold that turns your neck green. It looks like that gold that Donald Trump has tried to sell us.
Because one is gold and one is not. One is yellow, and it's the Trump phone. We've got our SGG quick charger, and it's gallium nitride, or so it claims, but it's only 33 watts max, and that's a pretty big charger. And look at this, Trump user manual SGG06. I mean, hey, it's been a while since they've given such detailed instructions with the smartphone, and I appreciate it. That's good. I think this was made for old people.
Yeah, it was.
From the home screen, tap the phone icon, then tap the dial pad icon, enter the name.
You have to remember, a lot of these people that are buying this, straight up, this might be one of their first smartphones. I am not joking.
Enter the number or the first letter of the contact's name.
You have to remember, like, a lot of the older generation still has, like, flip phones, like the Jitterbug and stuff like that. Do you know what this phone is that I just mentioned, the Jitterbug? So the Jitterbug phones were these phones with really large buttons for old people. And these are phones that you still actually would be able to buy. Yeah. This is the kind of stuff a lot of the older people still use. Like, I'm not hating on flip phones at all. They're great. But these are the phones that you may find some of the older people use because that's just what they know.
Name and select the contact. Tap the call icon. This is like baby's first smartphone. Oh, yeah. Look at that. A Trump Mobile gold USB-C to USB-C cable. It is nylon, and wow, it is not a good cable.
It looks like it's cheap.
Ah, now I know why they include a case. This is plastic. This is not glass. So it probably scratches pretty easy. So put this on there. Oh, yeah. T1. Okay, custom splash screen powered by Android.
It's not hard to make a custom flash screen.
All right, they put some work into this. Oh, and look at that. It's like a flag waving in the wind. All right.
Wait, was that eagle sound added by him, or was that the phone starting up?
There's a SIM number on here. 774. Okay, so it's the one they mailed me. It's not the one they included with the phone. I don't think.
What the fuck? So they include a SIM card, but the SIM card included is not the one that they use. They have to ship them a whole other SIM card.
Either right side up or upside down.
Oh, it's not an old Nokia. They've proven it's an HTC U24.
Yeah, according to the quick start guide. Okay. I'll tell you this. The display is actually really quite nice. I mean, here's an iPhone 17e, which I'm using as part of my 30-day Apple challenge. And while the color accuracy and the color cast on the Trump mobile phone is not as good, the display resolution looks great. The refresh rate is better. I can tell already it's a high refresh rate display, which the iPhone 17e is not. And it is now getting my phone ready. Okay, so there is a fingerprint reader on board, and I thought it might be in the power button because that's what it appears to be on their promotional images. But it's definitely not. It's just going to be in-screen. So let's see if it's a decent in-screen fingerprint. And yeah. Oh.
Huh?
Start.
Oh no.
Is broken from the factory. It just immediately errors out. Look at that. Trump Mobile, baby. We've got a wallpaper. Does it come with True Social installed? It does!
Oh, shit.
Oh, that's so funny. There you go. Hey, the man knows how to improve his brand. Welcome to Trump Mobile. Your number is closed. Welcome to Trump Mobile. What the what's going on?
Holy shit.
What? Okay. Messages.
What the?
What is happening? Look at this. I open up the app and it just quits. Okay. It looks like the app is staying open now. Cool. There's my phone number. And there's the, just welcome. System updates. Your system is updated as of February 5th. Should we check to see if there's any system updates? There are not. Let's try one last time to set up my fingerprint. The whole phone is set up. I'm gonna push agree and start. Yeah, no, it's just fully broken. I wonder if it's like a signing issue and the OS isn't properly signed or something, but the fingerprint reader...
I think that's probably it.
It's not me. It's fully updated. All the Google Play services are up to date. It's just broken. Okay, cool. I have to type my password every time because the fingerprint sensor doesn't work. Great. Okay, we're in developer options and wow, check that out. You can just straight up unlock the bootloader.
I mean, that's pretty standard for a lot of Android.
Most Android phones nowadays. Am I gonna end up liking the Trump T1? This is like an old school Android
You
phone.
can do it on a lot of vanilla Android.
XDA developers and download the latest Cyanogen mod from a Trump phone. This is crazy. I do have to say it feels really pretty nice, and it feels really quick because there's not much to this Android OS. It's pretty bone stock. The oleophobic coating sucks on the screen. I have fingerprints all over the place. But other than that, how's the camera? 1x, 2x?
Ugh.
That is the other camera though. And then you've got a 0.6, which would be this bottom camera right here.
Oh, so you don't have zoom.
Oh, that's nice. Love that. There's a timestamp in the bottom, and then on the left bottom it says T1.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, all right, hardware.
So you can find all the people that are taking images from their Trump phone.
So we've got a Snapdragon 7 Gen 3. Not bad. Older chip, couple years old, but not bad, not bad. And then we've got a 1080 by 2436 display with 120 hertz refresh rate. That's pretty good. And 12 gigs of memory. Wow.
That's not bad.
512 gigs of storage. These specs are a lot better than I thought they would be. 12 gigs of memory is not bad at all. Okay, so it does say it has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. Interesting. Yeah, I might not have a fingerprint sensor, but do you know what I do have? A flash.
The Trump phone breaks faster than Trump's Taj Mahal casino.
You saw a status LED on an Android phone. That is fabulous. A genuinely great feature. Why am I starting to like this phone? I'll tell you what I don't like, the fingerprints, but that is no challenge for Copeland Supply's Cloth Pro Max. That's right, my proprietary triple blend loop pile hybrid cleaning cloth that is just gonna solve all our problems. Here, look at this. You ready? 2 wipes. 1, 2, and whoa, she's perfect. Get yourself a Cloth Pro Max today. You can get yours for 10% off using coupon code SNAZZY, or actually I can do you one better. I haven't set up my voicemail inbox in a while. Hola, y gracias por llamar Quinn. If you want to save 15% on your Cloth Pro Max, use coupon code. For almost a year, the internet was that the Trump T1 was just a rebadged T-Mobile Revel Pro.
Wait, hold up. I think I recognize one of those.
Trump T1 was just a...
Hey, it's the poets. We're mutuals.
A rebadged
on TikTok.
T-Mobile Revel Pro 5G. This phone, one I picked up on Amazon for $126, manufactured by Chinese ODM Wingtech. The thing is it's not. The rumor's origin, best I can tell, traces back to the T1's original unveiling, where analyst Max Weinbach declared that the phone was the Revel in a custom body. How Max came to that conclusion, I don't know. I generally think he's pretty well sourced, so I presume that may have originally been the plan, but this initial render ain't what we got. And these two phones have, thankfully, absolutely nothing in common. The real Trump phone is much better. Fingerprint sensor aside. I mean, the displays are entirely different. The headphone jacks are on opposite sides of the phone. The camera arrangement is different. The cameras themselves are different. The hardware inside is different. This has got 8 gigs of memory. The Trump phone's got 12. This has got a Snapdragon 6 Gen 1, and this is a 7 Gen 3. I mean, they're just not the same. As soon as I saw the crappy AI unveil video for the T1 drop, I thought to myself, oh, that's just an HTC U24 Pro, a mid-range smartphone from a couple of years ago that frankly wasn't that great and was HTC in name only. I mean, the resemblance between these two devices is uncanny. They've got identical speaker grills. Their headphone jacks are in the same place. They've got the same case shape. The camera position is even identical, even though the back cover is slightly different. But I guess that's
it's slightly modified.
T1 is not just U24, but gold. They've done some stuff. This is a completely custom back cover. And while that's not typically very difficult to do, they did move the flash, which is also not that difficult to do, but moving the MEMS mic is less common because it needs calibration for proper noise canceling. Did the Trump T1 phone do that? Are these identical? The only thing that causes me to doubt that despite them having the same SoC, the same amount of memory, similar storage options, is the battery. The Trump mobile phone claims a 5,000 milliamp hour battery.
Right.
Is capable of 30-watt charging, and the U24 Pro claims a smaller 4,600 milliamp hour battery, but capable of much faster 60-watt charging. And while even the boxes look identical, sure enough, you take a look at this little tiny power adapter that comes with the U24, and despite looking basically the same size as the Trump mobile one, is able to output double the wattage.
But the adapter itself doesn't mean anything. The phone itself could accept 60 watts and do just all of that, and the battery having 400 milliamp more, that's not that hard of a modification.
So is the Trump one also capable of that, and the specs are just wrong? I wouldn't put it beyond this phone. Or are they quite literally different inside? I guess there's only one way to find out. But before that, a charging speed test. We'll use the cable that came with the U24 Pro, because presumably that can push the full 60 watts. We'll plug it in, because this is a low state of charge, 30%. We should be able to pull the full 60 if it can do that. We're slowly climbing. Let me turn the display off. And here we go. Here we go. 26. Yeah, so...
Not even the full 30.
Too confident that this can do 60 watts. It probably is 30. All right, I've already got the U24 open. It's now the Trump phone's turn. I'm just gonna put it on this very, very toasty resistive heating mat, which will loosen the adhesive at the bottom of the phone such that we can get a little bit of a point of entry with one of these spudgers and maybe with a little bit of...
acetone. Oh, that's a propyl.
Needs more time in the oven. Still a little tight over here, so we're gonna give this golden phone a shower. And these things look pretty darn near identical. The Trump phone, interestingly, is using screws to hold on this back cover plate as opposed to plastic welding, but other than that, they look pretty much the same. The microphone has moved location, as has the flash, but interestingly...
Yeah, that's easy to move.
This back cover. It's just the diffuser. And when you look at the flash LED itself, they're identical on both phones. The U24 is right here, and the Trump phone's is right here.
Yeah, they're the same phone.
It comes down to what type of plastic are you shooting the flash through. They both have the same NFC placement. They both have the same camera placement. They have both the same Qi placement for your wireless charging coil and this same bottom plate. But that's not all that is to be discovered in this phone. So let's dig a little bit deeper. Ta-da! As suspected, they're exactly the same. Same.
Yeah, battery is the exact same too. Like I said, it's not that hard to get something a little bit more beefy. They just went with a BTE 4602 versus a 5007, so slightly...
Same layout, same components. The only difference is the battery. Here's the HTC, here's the Trump. They look basically identical, save for the actual flash placement, which I didn't need to loosen, because check this out. They use contactless connector. That's pretty nice. Little pogo pins on here. That's advanced. Don't break these or you are in for a bad time. Trust me on that one. Okay, so yeah, we are definitely using different batteries here. We've got BTE 4602 and BTE 5007. The HTC has a 4550 milliamp hour battery, so that's a 17.23 watt hour. And the Trump phone has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery at 19.35 watt hours. So you do get a larger battery in the Trump phone, but it does not charge as quickly. We've got two battery connectors, which is interesting. Sometimes you'll see that in cells that charge really quickly. There'll be two cells in parallel. There's no pull tabs on these, which is kind of annoying. But
that's what happens on a lot of those cheap ones.
Nothing squirting some of this down there can't resolve for the rest of it, eh? Okay, there you go. Since the battery's out, I wanted to check on something, not to discover, but to repair. Potentially the fingerprint sensor. Oh, by the way, if you ever want to remove these little water detection stickers without being detected, you pour some really high concentrated isopropyl alcohol on it. It dissolves the adhesive. It doesn't turn the sticker red, and you can pull it right out in one piece. Generally. Sometimes. Usually.
Oh.
Aha. And while right here on this board, we've got our SIM tray, we've got our USB-C. There's no charging logic on this daughter board. It goes straight to the main board. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, microphone, antennas, and our connectors here. But, crucially, right here is our fingerprint sensor. So if we pull this up, sometimes you can see that there's like plastic sticker underneath still, but no. So as you can see, where it shines through the display looks good. There's no protective film that would prevent it from working. And if we look at the sensor itself, I mean, that looks just fine. So I think we either have a defective sensor or more likely there's something going on in software that prevents this from working with the secure enclave.
I think it's the software.
Many have suggested this phone is 100% spying on you. And look, while I love a good conspiracy, I just don't think so. Not because I have some deep faith in Trump Mobile's corporate ethics, but because I don't think anybody over there is competent enough to do something so malicious.
Yep.
Now, if Trump Mobile had gone with some old...
That's my sentiment as well.
Shoving mystery firmware without their knowledge onto the device, then yeah, maybe it would be a concern. But this is just an HTC phone wearing a novelty campaign hat. That said, as Nancy Reagan's husband once said, trust but verify, and the throat goat knows best. So the easiest way to do this without rooting the phone is to run a local VPN-style packet capture app like PCAP Droid. What this does is it lets us see what the apps and system services are making network connections to, and what DNS requests are being made, and what IPs it's talking to.
Holy shit.
In many cases, the TLS host names, even if we can't actually see the HTTPS traffic.
Did you see how much Truth Social was being hit?
Both here on device and also on the computer doing actual packet inspection during Wireshark, the traffic is just totally benign. We've got Google, we've got normal Android services, it's going to the Play Store. When Truth Social is open, it's going to Truth Social, but when the app is closed, it's not sending any traffic. This is just normal stuff. It's talking to CDNs, the update servers, and yeah, it's pretty boring. No spying here. So I guess that brings up the question, where does this leave us? Well, without recommendation, because while the Trump mobile phone is not a $130 wing tech selling for $500.
Yeah, definitely not a phone we recommend.
Not because it's way more expensive than the U24 Pro. It's not. It's only a $50 premium, but because, well, the U24 Pro is not a very good phone either. Take this, the Samsung Galaxy S25 FE, for example. This is a $500 phone in the US, and it's not even particularly competent when compared to the likes of Oppo, OnePlus, and others. And yet, this device easily outperforms the Trump phone in all benchmarks. It has significantly better cameras. It has a thinner chassis. It has a fingerprint sensor that works. It has better software, and it will get software updates into the future and more. Then again, nobody looking to buy.
Interesting, it's the same phone, but it works better.
They're the likes to read a manual on how to make a phone call from their new smart telephone. And maybe not even those guys are actually buying this thing, given that the director of sales called me directly asking me to please buy the phone. Sorry, Eric. Sorry, Don Jr. You're going to have to find yourselves a different grift. This isn't going to make your billions. Thank you so much for watching. Save money on a Cloth Pro Max by using that discount code below, or call that number to get the best deal.
All right. That was a great little video, but it's getting a little bit late now. So thank you all for joining. If you haven't already, make sure to follow me on all of my socials and follow me on the YouTube, the TikTok, the Twitch, the Kick, the Instagram, the Blue Sky, the Mastodon, and of course, join the Matrix server and the Discord server. The links are in the bio for all of that stuff. Stick around for the raid if you are over on Twitch. Love you all. Stay safe. Happy hacking. I should be back on stream Wednesday. Wednesday, I think, is the next official day. But stick around for the raid. Love you all. Happy hacking.